Hello, everybody. Welcome to Boss Rush Podcast. I'm your host, Commander Eddie Shepard. Joining me is my good old friend. He's the Garrus of Crossroads. Pretty much Crossroads and Boss Rush games. Mr. LeRon Dawkins.
Hey everyone, what's going on?
And we have a special, so excited guest here on the show. You have seen her 1v1 with Corey. I'm just like, she is so much a Miranda to me because of the look, but I don't know how she would take it. She is from Another Zelda podcast, book author, and just a fantastic person. Like, I love her dogs, I love her cats. Her husband, Ryan, and his brother have a podcast, Brothers-in-Law. They're having a 1v1. Everybody, please welcome MJ Kuhn to the Boss Rush Podcast.
Hello, everybody. I am honored that you think that I'm like Miranda look-wise. I'll take that to the bank every day.
Oh, look,
I
go
can
ahead.
agree. I can agree. Wow.
Now I just need the accent. Now.
Wait, was she Australian?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Yvonne Strahovski or however you say her name.
Yes.
Is the voice actress. Yeah.
Oh, she is. When we get to the end, she's out of all the females in Mass Effect, she is
She's your top
is,
choice.
She is. Well, there's two other people before Miranda, but we would get into
There's
that.
some
But
good options. So.
oh yes, there is. But before we get into everything, everybody, this is the history of Mass Effect, and we are going to be talking about the first three games: Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. We'll probably touch a little bit on Andromeda, a little bit. But I kind of wanted to have this discussion for the special edition of Boss Rush Podcast because we have played the Mass Effect series. We love sci-fi. We kind of love these characters and these roles and everything. And there's a history for each of us on how we came upon the Mass Effect story. And we was about to start it and everything. So before we continue to go on, MJ, can you tell us a little bit of what you do at Another Zelda podcast, just to remind everybody, and then we'll get into our history on how we got into the Mass Effect series.
Love it. Yeah. So I came into Another Zelda podcast as just like a fan of the show. And then I just started like adding the hosts on Twitter all the time. And like eventually they started talking to me. It was pretty cool. So since then they asked me to do some blogs. So I became a blog writer for them starting in January this year. But then with the pandemic, so David, the main host of Another Zelda podcast, is really passionate about recording in person, which obviously is a challenge right now. So since my husband and I are both huge Zelda fans and are both involved with AZP and like live in the same viral bubble, we've been recording. Actually, we recorded 2 guest episodes where we're the guest hosts of the show now. So it's like, wow, it's super cool. So, but yeah, it's a great podcast. If anyone listening is not familiar with it, but you love Zelda, it is family friendly, so you could listen to it with your kids, and like we just pick a topic like favorite mini bosses or like your top 10 boss battles or whatever, and we just dig into all the games. Super fun.
The quiz episode is still one of my favorites so far.
Yes.
We
did that one earlier this year, and if you watch that one, don't judge me. I get some really dumb ones wrong.
Don't worry. You know, Corey still gets on me because I haven't been in Breath of the Wild, but I'm working on it. So if I try to be snazzy or sassy and stuff, he'd be like, Ed, for someone who's talking who hasn't beat Breath of the Wild, I'm like, you know what? There's other games. Go ahead, LeRon.
This is why you don't admit what games you haven't beat, because there's a million games I haven't beaten, and I'm very particular about which ones I decide to give up.
Just fake it till you make it. Otherwise,
right? Yeah.
You know what? That was my theme during high school at times. To be like, you know what, y'all, let's fake it till we make it. Make them think that we know what we're doing, even though we do not. They don't care. They want to see something go on.
Hey, and here's a pro tip for you. If you don't have time to play the game, someone's got a complete no commentary walkthrough on YouTube that you can basically sit there, watch it, and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I beat the game.
Right? I know exactly what happens. I can tell you all of it.
Thank you, thank you, Nintendo, for not having trophies and achievements because one of my friends would jump on, be like, "Oh, so you beat it, right? Let me compare what you got. You didn't beat this game." Be like, you know what? The real. Oh, I'm trying to come down from yesterday. I was sassy at work yesterday. If y'all read my tweet, if you follow me at that retro code, I was not about to have it yesterday at all. This lady wanted side tangent. This lady wanted me to do 6 photo books, 20 pages each, and she wanted me to sit by her at this kiosk for 4.5 hours to do these books. Girl,
It's a Friday. I'm done.
I just had started work. I'm just like, no. I grabbed her phone, went on to my job's website, picked the pictures, and sent them, and be like, here you go. Pick them up when you ready to pick them up, and they'll be good. I'm not about to do this. I got things to do. There's already enough foolishness that's happening at work. And LeRon knows, but I'm not about to do it today.
I'm just like, wow, bang up customer service there, Ed.
Oh, I was just hood. Other times I'm so suburban. I'm so my white side is like
Suburban,
very.
is that what we're calling that?
Yes. So when you come from a mixed family, because I have white and Indian in me, my white side comes out and I be suburban. I be very just like, hello, how you doing, sir? Hello, ma'am. Can I help you right there? But when my hood side come out, the black ghetto sassiness comes out, and I be like, look, fool, we are not about to do this today. I will read you to filth, and then I will push you in the trash can and roll you out the store. I don't got time for this nonsense. You are 55 some years old. You do not need to be driving around this mud without a driver's license. I don't got time for that. And you got that Crown Royal bag? Not about to do it.
Valerie, we're trapped in here with him. Oh boy.
So I mean, I my personality changes at some time.
You're like moral of the story.
Exactly.
Goes back and forth.
Moral of the story is when you come into a retail store, act your age and be respectful.
That is the absolute truth.
Should be the moral of the story for sure.
Yes. LeRon, I think your microphone went off. Oh, okay. He was eating. Sorry. So I was just like, his microphone went off.
I mean, if you don't want me obnoxiously crunching on Doritos the whole podcast,
This is Bus Rush Podcast. How many times have we talked about snacks and eating?
Snack session.
I have a really sensitive mic, so I mean, like it will get ugly up on.
Oh shit, this is Snack-Tendo. I've been eating. Look, on Mallory, you probably have seen me on Snack-Tendo eating like burgers and
Makes
chips.
me jealous every time. I get so jealous. Now I'm hungry, Ed. Thanks. Like,
shoot, you be cooking up a store too. Don't act like you do. And see, LeRon, and I love LeRon because he went to a sushi place this week, and I was just like. He blessed me with all his sushi picks. I was just like, this is what I want. You already know before anyone else see what any food that y'all send it. If you know me, I need to see your food first. Thank you, Dan. Because Dan sent me in on Twitter from Pop Block. He sent me one of his meals while he was out of town, and I was just like, yeah.
Oh yeah, from the steakhouse. I saw that. Oh, that looked good.
Well, here's the thing to note about me. I am one of those that I can't stand Instagramming my food. So, like I take that back though. I'll Instagram my food if I'm the one that actually cooks it. But 9 times out of 10, if I went to a restaurant and ordered it, I'm ready to eat. So as soon as it gets in front of me, I'm ready to throw down and stuff like that. So if I had the restraint to take 15 to 20 seconds to take a photo, and then even more restraint to like doctor up the photo real quick because the colors have to pop and everything. Hey, I was feeling nice that day.
At that level, you're doing the most. I'm just talking about you get the meal, you take your pictures, you send it to the DM, and you start eating your food. That's what I care for. That's my situation that's at hand. That's what I need.
I was about to say that your mic go mute.
Sorry, everybody. Skype is acting up food. It always does that. And when
it does.
LeRon, when you was talking about the fresh Twizzlers, I was
Oh,
just like,
I sent the entire Boss Rush crew into a freaking tailspin with that one. But man,
exactly.
I'm telling you though, like I like in my entire history of eating Twizzlers, I can't remember a time when I was actually tasting like almost fresh strawberry, in a bite.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that was what I had a couple of weeks ago. Like, and I was I was at a random client's office because I'm an IT guy, so I was doing some repair jobs over there, and they're like, "We know you have a sweet tooth. How are you about Twizzlers?" I'm like, "Oh, I love Twizzlers." It's like, "Oh, well, you're gonna really love these." I'm like, "What's so special about these?" I'm sitting there thinking they're about to bring out some crazy flavor,
Yeah.
and they bring out the can, and it's just a regular red Twizzlers. I was like, "Why am I gonna like
Oh.
these?"
Right.
And she was like, no, just open one up because they were individually wrapped ones. Just open one up and take a bite. Took a bite, and I was like, what is going on with these Twizzlers here? She's like, do you taste fresh strawberries? I was like, yes. And she's like, this. We don't know how we wound up getting a case of these, but we got them, and
They're precious now.
we've been trying to hold ourselves back from eating the entire thing. And I'm like, can I have some more? And she's like, yeah. I took like a whole handful.
Turn it to a kid, and I'm just look. I'm walking, exercising, listening to the podcast. He talks about that, and I'm screaming out from all these people. I'm like, yes, LeRon, yes. Like I felt like I was there, and so because we ran out of because I like to pull the peel cherry ones.
Yes,
And
those are the best.
when them mugs are super fresh, I would buy 2 bags. I would buy 3 bags. And if you don't ask me, you're not getting one. If I see your hands try to reach it,
Yeah.
I would Max Payne slow down and ninja kick you and tell you you better ask first.
Right.
No, you better ask, go wash your hands, and then I'll give you one.
Teaching them manners.
Teaching them manners, and this is COVID. We're in the pandemic.
Well, yeah, that too.
So, but yeah, LeRon, thank you for those pictures. Thank you for the twisters. Thank you, Mallory, for the doggy pics and the beauty, the makeup. I stand. You already know. I'd be like, oh, you coming with this Twilight Princess realness. You coming with this realness. Like the makeup be on point. This is all side stuff before we get into the podcast. This is Boss Rush Podcast.
Oh, if it's like that, hold on. I need to give you a follow. Hold on.
Her makeup, no joke. Literally no joke. And plus you inspired Celeste. And so Celeste, she gave me the gold glitter look, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just like, yes.
It's so fun. Yeah, I love makeup.
Okay, mommy. If all this modeling, okay, I see this. Okay, you know what? You got to follow.
Well, thank you. See, I just figure I'm locked down, so like if I don't take a picture of it, no one's gonna see it. So
yeah,
I gotta take a selfie.
Right. Sometimes you feel certain ways about writing, but then you'll throw up a pic with your makeup on. I'm like, girl, glow, shine. This. Yes.
Well, thank you. I know you're like my hype man. Every time I post something, I'm like, oh, Ed, you're the best.
I also, you're welcome. I try to be LeRon's hype man too when he's lifting. He's showing off. I'm just like, there you go, LeRon. Encourage folks. You doing it. You doing it. Yes.
Hey, I try, but sometimes I run across this wall of where like I guess I'm a little too body positive or whatnot. Sometimes I run against this wall and like I don't mean to offend people or hurt people's feelings and stuff like that. But so every now and then I have to like for every bit of positivity I try to give out and and help people out and stuff. I also have to realize that sometimes people aren't ready for that level and have to restrain myself. So sometimes I have to do a mild apology tour, even though like you've seen it, I don't really brag,
No,
like I get in, I just talk about the workout, what it's going to accomplish, what it does for you, and I may every now and then like do like a quick little flex just to show like what happens, and things like that. Sometimes it's a little too much for people.
It's hard when working out's your hobby, though, because like if knitting was your hobby, you'd post pictures of the things you knitted. So like, okay, lifting's your hobby. Post those gains.
I guess the problem is, a full like Afghan, freaking blanket, is not as intimidating as somebody that looks like they can go and just like snap necks,
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
And some people come for the thirst. I come from the. Sometimes I come from the thirst because I just be like, oh, LeRon can get it because he's doing it right. But I'm just like I get happy that I'm like you have a goal, you have a journey that you're making on. Same with you, Maddie. When you talk about your writing, that you have a goal and everything. Like watching your 1v1 and just seeing how you write and you have a love and passion for it. I'll get so excited for that. Of course, the makeup and everything. And it's always good. Like I was talking to Celeste with this 1v1. This is a preview, so you guys will be able to watch it when it goes out. I'll talk about like mental health and everything, and it's just like here at Boss Rush, it's always good to encourage people in the community and stuff because you never know what somebody's going through and everything. And making somebody stay and making them feel good represents our theme of playing games and being better to one another. You always want to encourage somebody. So
Absolutely.
yes. And so and LeRon, you been on that hot tub. I was just like, yeah, you deserve that. You deserved it.
Trust me, like my personal trainer, because I go over to his house to work out and stuff because he's got a completely converted garage that's like a gym. I go over to his place at least 3 times a week to work out and stuff like that. And his neighbors know me and everything because I'm a regular client and stuff like that. So he trusts me to like, keep an eye on the house and I can go use like the various, like the gym, of course. And I was like, and he was saying he had to go travel because he needs to go see his parents and just do a wellness check on them and they live out in Arkansas. And it's the first time, and it's the first time he will have seen them since the pandemic started, stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, well, he left me like the workouts to do for the next couple of days until he gets back. And I was like, hey,
I love how Dan was just like when he seen burpees, he walked away. I was just like, Dan. Oh, and shout out to Dan, everybody. Go to bossrushgames.com. Read his first blog, Switching Opinions, about how he felt about the Nintendo Switch when the 4 years came out. That's his first blog. So just show him some love, share it, and everything. But go ahead, Laura.
I will say to Dan, I'm like, come on, man, like you are a much lighter person than I am. I'm pretty sure you can knock out 25 burpees a lot better and more gracefully than I can because I am 230 plus pounds. Like, trust me, burpees are not my friend.
I don't even know what burpees is. Is that like you drinking a 40 ounce of Sprite and you just got to burp as many times as you can?
That would be more pleasant than the actual burpee.
In the fitness community, there's a majority of us that would wish it is like that, but no. Like I mean, you remember back in the day doing the squat thrust, or it was called the 8 count bodybuilder, where you squat, you get down, you squat. Then you throw your legs out to get into a push-up position. You go down, do the push-up, come back up, get back into the squat position. Then you jump up. But then when you jump up, you have to actually jump and leave the ground.
Arms up. Yeah.
See, so imagine. So yeah, and the benefit of the exercise is you have to do it explosively. So yeah. So just imagine doing 25 of those, in succession and trying not to stop.
Okay. See, because my squat thing is like I drop it down low. I have my whole leg spread out, booty pop in, and I'm putting something down, and then I jump back up, and then I like drop it down low, almost into a twerk formation, but not really twerk formation. So it's more of a challenge of how low can I get, and how can I? Oh.
Ed's doing the cheerleader camp version of the burpees.
Hey, if I could drop it down low and these knees don't give out.
I was just gonna say.
Well, yeah, that's the thing about it. Yeah, like that's the thing about it. Like you have to pray to have bulletproof knees for that stuff. But just imagine. Like I'm like 234 pounds now. There was a time when I had to do burpees at 280 pounds, and that was not fun. But yeah, so I mean, Dan, I feel like Dan can definitely throw down on burpees a lot better than I could. He's in better shape than I am, and I actually go to the gym all the time.
Yeah, so everybody also check out this week's podcast, Arsenal X. Check out Crossroads. Check out Nintendo Power Block. Check out the 1v1 with the Brewsters. With Ryan and Mike, And yeah, check out last week's Boss Rush podcast also. We had such a great time and everything. But we're going to get into the history of Mass Effect. Um, so I'm going to oh there. So I'm going to start with you, Mallory. How did you get into Mass Effect?
Yeah, so I was talking to you guys a little bit before we started recording about we were talking about the three and the original trilogy, obviously Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. And then I played 2 and 3 before I ever played Mass Effect 1, which made it really difficult for me to deal with Mass Effect 1. But so I was a Nintendo only gamer for most of my life. So the first system I ever got that wasn't a handheld was the GameCube. So I was like late to a lot of the parties here. And then I didn't have any systems that were not Nintendo until I got married. My husband and I registered for an Xbox 360 and we actually got it.
Nice.
So shout out to my husband's friend Doug that bought us an Xbox for our wedding. It was awesome. But yeah, so that was when I started playing. So I didn't play any of the games until 2014 was when we got married. So we started with, he had 2 and 3, but we didn't have 1. So that was how I got into the games. And I was obviously obsessed with them immediately. And we can talk about, I know on our agenda, we have to talk about the ending of 3 a little more, but let's just say after I beat Mass Effect 3, I took a hiatus from all video games for like 2 weeks because I just needed to process for a second. So it was a lot. But yeah, so that's how I got into the franchise. I started with Mass Effect 2.
All right. LeRon, how did you get into the Mass Effect series?
It was more of a kicking and screaming thing for me because I was like, well, yeah, I mean, okay. Historically, I was not an Xbox gamer. I was a PlayStation gamer before I ever shifted into like the PC side of things and stuff like that. Because a lot of people know me now as a PC gamer, but back then, Mass Effect was only available on the Xbox 360, and I had friends like I had friends that they were Xbox gamers, and when Mass Effect was coming out, Mass Effect was exclusive to Xbox. The original Mass Effect wasn't exclusive. Mm-hmm. And I had some friends, they were basically ganging up on me. They're like, hey man, like you gotta play this game. And I'm like, why do I have to play this game? Well, it's a sci-fi RPG coming out. And I was like, you know what? As soon as you said RPG, I already checked out because I was also at a phase in my gaming history where RPGs no longer moved it for me. It wasn't a thing. And they're like, well, it's a sci-fi RPG and all this stuff. And I was like, you gotta tell me some more about that because that's not getting my attention right now. And like, well, this sci-fi game is like, imagine it's Star Trek meets 24. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's like you create a character and your character is basically a combination of James Kirk, Captain Kirk from Star Trek, and Jack Bauer from 24. And like the GIF meme, where Oprah closes the book and leans in. I was like, okay, tell me more. And they're like, and they started showing me like some gameplay footage and all that stuff and I was like, this doesn't look bad, but how RPG-ish is it? And they're like, well, it's got a lot of RPG elements in it, even though like it's an action game. And I was like, okay, I'll think about it. I had a buddy. He loaned me his Xbox 360 and his copy of the game, and I was like, okay. I played a little bit of it, and I was like, it's okay. I'll get into it later. And then ultimately, I did not wind up getting the entire series until the Mass Effect trilogy released on the PlayStation 3, and that's when I was like, okay. It's not a system that I don't have to go spend money on because I already have a PS3, so this should work out for me. And that's honestly how I got into it, and then I became like one of the biggest fans of the Mass Effect franchise. So I went from playing all 3 of the games, of course, anticipating Andromeda, saw the Mass Effect Paragon Lost movie and stuff like that. Started reading some of the books, never finished them, but that's basically how I got into Mass Effect. It was kicking and screaming.
Okay. So for me, I knew BioWare. I had the original Xbox and I had Jade Empire. I still have that. I got to play it on my one. I never got a chance to finish it, but I really want to go through it. And then I had the Star Wars game, and I yelled at my TV. I had never been upset about a video game like that. I was just like,
what about KOTOR?
Yeah, I was just
Mhm.
like, this is trash. This is garbage. I don't want to play this game because it didn't have no direction. I was not feeling it at all. So, and I even bought BioWare, the Sonic the Hedgehog game BioWare did for the DS. I even bought that.
Wait, what's
Um,
Sonic the Hedgehog game?
yeah, BioWare did Sonic the Hedgehog RPG for DS.
I don't remember that.
Oh, you look it up and you'd be like, oh, they did do this. Yeah, Sega and BioWare did that together.
Hmm.
And so, um, I skipped the Xbox 360 because of hardware problems. I just didn't believe in owning the system. Now I saved up my money and I got a PlayStation 3 Slim. And this is the time I'm working at Toys R Us. So it's holiday. I'm working mad 60 plus some hours. My check is banging. And so I was just like, okay, I'll be able to get the system. And I bought two and then I bought three, but I never finished two and three. And me and my associate in the electronics department, I just told him how I just didn't like BioWare and I didn't like the games and I'm not looking forward to Mass Effect and everything. And he's just like, play them, play all of them and stuff. Okay, so I bought the trilogy when it came out, downloaded, let it do its 8 hours. Was at Fridays eating and getting a little bit tipsy. And I was just like, the game. By the time I get home, because I had
You
a long, what?
wait, break. You did an all digital purpose of the purchase of the trilogy?
Yeah,
Are you?
and,
that
and I
game
would tell you, and
that
I would
game
tell
was
you
on
why.
that
I,
game
would-
was
I
on that game was on 3 Blu-ray discs, Ed.
and I'm gonna tell you why. Nobody sold it. GameStop didn't have no copies. Target didn't have no copies. Walmart didn't have no copies. Even the collectors one trying to look for it, nobody had it. I had to go buy it digitally. I went to almost 24 stores and then nobody have it at
Jeez,
See, but
I
at
would
all.
have.
least if it's
Jeez,
digital.
I would have Amazoned it.
Oh, true.
Amazon was out too.
But you didn't have to
What?
get up in the middle
Wait,
of the
wait. Oh, it
gameplay
was.
and switch
Wait,
discs,
wait,
which
wait.
sucks.
You did say it was holiday. You did say it was holiday period. So yeah, I
Yeah.
get it.
So
Yeah.
I couldn't get it. So I was just like, I'm gonna download the game and I let it just download. Now I'm at Fridays. I'm eating my potlucks. I'm eating my mozzarella sticks. I'm drinking my Long Island iced tea. Like I'm feeling myself. I'll be like, okay, by the time I get done with here, this thing should be done. The first game had just only finished downloading. It was going to two, so I was just overnighted. A couple days later, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna treat this thing like it's a book club and playing it with my friend and everything. I get to Mass Effect 1 and I was just like, it's okay. There's some things I like, but I'm sticking with it. And I played it daily. Now, and give everybody just inquiry, this is my second American RPG that I have actually played as a series. Secret of Evermore on the Super Nintendo was my first one because that was done in Squaresoft here in America, not in Japan. So this was like my first my second RPG that I fully played through. And so I'm just like, these characters are all right. And I'm just like, I like Garrus and everything. It hit Mass Effect 2 and I was on board. I was running to him and we was talking it like it was a podcast. Like this was like this was my soap opera. This was all my children space. And sometimes I sometimes when I felt ghetto, I'm just like, oh, all my cigarettes was on hot, was on just heat because Garrus is my guy. Like and getting into these scenarios and making these choices. And I played three and I really enjoyed three. I think three is it's weird. Three has the best gameplay. Two has the best story and characters. Um,
I agree.
Mhm.
so um and so I got into it and I every time I seen him and then if I didn't see him at work, I was hitting him on Facebook or I was messaging him on how I really love this game. And so that's how I got into Mass Effect. And everybody, if you think Mass Effect it was just only some games, it was not. There is a lot. So for the video games, there's Mass Effect 1 to 3 and Andromeda. There were some mobile games, Mass Effect Galaxy, Infiltrator, Datapad, Andromeda, Apex HQ. There was also a ride, Mass Effect New Earth, which was a 4D holographic experience introduced at California's Great America Amusement Park in 2016. There's been novels, Mass Effect Revelation, Ascension, Retribution, Deception, Nexus, Rising, Initiation, and Annihilation. There was an interact novel, Mass Effect Pick Your Path. There were comics, Mass Effect Redemption, Incursion, Inquisition, Evolution, Conviction, Invasion, Homeworlds, Blasto, Eternity is Forever, Who Lasts Best, Foundation, and Discovery. There was two films, Mass Effect, and then Mass Effect Paragon Lost. I think those was the anime ones.
Wait. I didn't know about an actual like a Mass Effect movie.
Yeah, I know there were some anime ones, so it might be those.
I
It might
thought
be.
the only one. I thought the only movie was Paragon Lost.
It had two of them. It said Mass Effect as a movie. So there's also action figures, board games, and art books. So there was a lot of content over the years.
Actually, let's make a quick correction on that.
Okay, but
That's it. Still says it's in development. Like nothing new has come about it since its original conception in 2010.
oh, okay. I thought so. Paragon Lost is the only film, right?
Yeah.
Is that the animated one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the one that ties into Mass Effect 3.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you
Yeah,
for
because
that.
that was the thing EA was doing back then. They were trying to do like connected media marketing. They did it successfully with Dead Space. Dead Space
Oh,
had
that's
Dead
that Dead
Space had
Space anime was good.
yeah, Dead Space had two movies, two animated movies, and as well as like various other crossover things like Dead Space Extraction. Wow, for the Wii originally, that was a crossover. No, not so much a crossover. It was a connecting game. It connected events. It connected everything that led up to the first Dead Space game, and then there was other things too. But yeah, EA was doing this thing, and it worked for the most part. Where like mobile, books, comic books, and animated movies and stuff was their thing. Like because Mass Effect for sure, Dead Space for sure, Dante's Inferno got a movie. Yeah. So EA, they do some things. I'm not gonna say they do everything right, but they do some things.
Yes. Let's get into it. So Mass Effect was released on November 20th, 2007 for Xbox 360. I think Microsoft did the publishing and BioWare did the development before everything went to EA. The story it takes place within the Milky Way galaxy in the year 2183, where your civilization is threatened by a highly advanced machine race known as the Reapers. The players assume the role of Commander Shepard, an elite human soldier who must stop a rogue agent from carrying out the Reapers' galactic invasion. And you got to be able to make your character male or female, different skin colors. You were really able to detail like the facials, the hairstyles, and everything. What did you guys play as? So I played as a male. His name is Eddie Shepard. And he was black, bald headed, like with a bushy kind of like beard, kind of like what you got LeRon right now, like as a beard.
Oh, what I have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I kind of made it right there. It's not as thick as yours. It's a little bit thin and everything. But I always made my characters bald headed, and I made his eyes green, with my eyes. Cause for some reason I was trying to make him look like me, but I was just like, no, I don't want to have him have dark brown eyes. I want to have him have color eyes, and I didn't want to do blue. Like I would do green eyes or red eyes for my curator character. I did it separate for Monster Hunter because my Monster Hunter character has one eye blue, one eye yellow, and my Palico has the reverse, one yellow, one blue. With that, I love creating characters in games. I really do. Blaze,
Oh.
Blame WWE SmackDown. We was making wrestlers like that. But Mallory, what did you play as?
So I have only played, well, I've played through the games like a million times. I've only played as male Shep once ever. I always play as femme Shep. Partially because like it's just nice to play as a female character, but also like even just aside from like my strong feminist streak, I just straight up think femme Shep's voice acting is better.
Yes.
It's just better.
Mhm.
Like the lines are like equally like cringy Vin Diesel lines for both of
Mhm.
them, but the
Yeah.
femme Shep voice actor is just better.
She delivers better.
Yep, for a lot of cases. So that's where I always do it. But yeah, I always customize the crap out of my character too. Whenever I play with Ryan and he picks the character, he just goes with the stack, like whatever is there, and I'm like, no. So I usually will make my femme shop like I'll make her bald and I'll give her like black lipstick and like I just go like totally different from what I look like at all when I do my femme shop. But yeah, it's fun.
What about you? I had to play the whole series as Phil Chef. I haven't played it as her, and it's nothing against her. I think it was just like I want to get the story and the characters and stuff, and
Yeah.
plus I want to who I want to romance is kind of that. But LeRon, who did you play as? Like, did you create your character? Did you name him? What?
I play as the stock default male shepherd. And there's a reason why like I stopped doing basically creative characters. Well, number one, like I tried the whole thing of like trying to get a character to look like me, and I could never quite match the distinction or the likeness and stuff like that. Like games have gotten better in this day and age where like they now have all the type of bone structures and facial like features and stuff like that. So yeah, but me, I kind of got out of it because like I just for years just disappointment trying to find somebody to look like me, as far as like building the character and stuff like that. But the main reason why is because that I played with the male shepherd is because I got into some trouble way back in the day in the first Monster Hunter game playing because I used to play as nothing but female characters all the time way back in the day, and I got into some trouble because you know how that acronym GIRL guy in real life,
Yeah.
I got into trouble because like I got into like to try and remain as anonymous as possible, I basically got into character, like I'm playing a female character, so I need to pose as a female in real life and stuff like that. And, had someone that was getting ready to fly all the way from California to see me. And I was like, oh, no. We got to stop this. We have to stop this. And so since the original Monster Hunter game back in 2004 for PS2, like I no longer play as female characters unless
Scarred for life.
Yeah, unless the game unless by default the game has a female character, I will not play as a female character. And that's just it's worked out for me ever since. But here's something interesting though, and I feel like I could have gone either way with Mass Effect if they had done one thing for all their cover art for the games. If they put both male and female shepherd on the covers together, I probably could have gone 50-50. I probably would have started the game as the male shepherd and then would have eventually came back and started all over again as a female shepherd. I mean, Femme Shep is great. Like I said, I love the delivery of her lines and everything and stuff like that. It feels a little more natural for Femme Shep in a way, but at the same time, just like the cover art was showing me male shepherd, so I was like, okay, this is perceived main character of the series, and that's kind of how I went. And I know it's boring and stuff like that. Like I should use my imagination, just create a character and stuff like that. But
you have the helmet on most of the time, anyways. That's
Yeah.
like Ryan makes fun of me, my husband, because I'll spend like literally 20 minutes like changing, like, oh, do I want the cheekbones 2 ticks up?
Yeah.
Ticks down.
Yeah.
Like, I will
Yep.
literally spend 20 minutes doing that, and then I'm like, okay, and then equip my, M7 breather helmet. Done.
Mhm. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so that's ultimately for me. Like but I mean, like I love the series, and sometimes the stuff that you see. Well, actually, I come from a military background, so in all honesty, like when you see either shepherd like punch somebody in the face, like when you have a military background like mine, I'm like, yeah, you can see that. I can see a male or a female like just knocking somebody one time just because they're being a jackass, So it works either way.
Yes. Okay. And the gameplay is over the shoulder, third person. It is single player. You have two crewmates with you. Um, in the first game, in first the Mass Effect, you have some ammo, but not. But it's like overheating ammo, so you can shoot as long as you want, as long as it doesn't overheat, and then you let it cool down. There's a car called a Mako that you could go in and drive to different planets and search everything. It tries to be like Halo with the Warhog, but um
Hmm.
excuse me about that. It's we'll get into it later on. We have words for that. I have multiple words for it. But you also was able to um have your squad characters go to certain places. You were able to pick different classes, and those classes will allow you to see what weapon you will be able to use in that game. You had a wheel that you got to select different
The dialogue wheel.
collection also. You got a wheel that was able to select different powers and different weapons and everything for that. So that's kind of the basis of Mass Effect. So let's get into it. I love this villain. Um, in this game, his voice acting was really good. I'm trying to find his name because I forgot to write it down.
You
Um,
talking about the character?
yeah,
Saren.
Saren. Yeah, I
Yes.
couldn't think of his name.
I thought you. I thought you were
I
looking. I thought you were looking for the voice actor's name. I was like,
oh
I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
this
I don't know
shouldn't
who
be.
the voice
I
actor
was like,
is.
I don't know who the voice actor is, but I was like, the villain shouldn't be escaping you.
yeah, Saren. I apologize. I forgot to write Saren's name down as characters. Because he's um a great use of a villain, of character, of motivation, of his voice acting. Um, just like what he stands for. Like he hates humans, and he would do everything in his power. His focus on is getting rid of humans, and it was just like the setup to it is so good. You know, with you doing your first mission and getting to the council, talking to them, and they're like not really believing, even regardless of what answers you give and stuff. And you got to find evidence to really show that, you know, he is the person that's not, you know, is not a specter. He didn't act in the specter ways, because when you are a specter, you have kind of the right to do anything that you want in a sense. But the venture follows that, and then there's another entity that's working alongside him with
Actually, I wouldn't say it's working alongside. Saren Saren for all intents and purposes, like like yeah, he had his own agenda and everything, but he was basically a puppet.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's even funny because he was a puppet, and even the final battle with Saren like proved that he was a puppet,
Mhm.
metaphorically. Yeah.
Yes. uh
Um.
Go ahead, Laura.
I was actually going to segue into like what the other bad guy was.
Oh,
Uh,
uh Madeline, what did you think of Sarah? And then LeRon, go ahead and go to your part.
okay.
Yeah, I like Saren. I think he's probably my second favorite bad guy in the trilogy of like the big main scary bad guy of the
Mhm.
whole thing. Is fine, but it's kind of like a Tolkien villain, right? Like it's just like straight up,
Yeah.
I'm going to destroy everything. And it's a little more compelling than that. And we can talk more about them later because there is like a little bit more of an explanation and like a higher purposey type thing going on there.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think Saren is my number two. And then we'll talk more about the Elusive Man. He's my number one villain
Mm.
in most of fiction, actually. He might be my
Yeah.
number one of all time. So
See,
yeah.
I think I love Saren as probably one of my top 10 villains, because he's just like I said, when you have an evil character and he has a purpose and there's stuff that's attracted to you. I don't care if you win or not or anything. There's something about you to be like, yes, you need an Academy Award for this because you're playing the role. You're fitting. But LeRon, go ahead. Uh,
Yes, I definitely enjoyed Saren as a character. I feel like there's a few things there's a few more things they should have fleshed out with him, to a certain extent. Like it's not so much, and this is me as the writer coming out now. It's not so much that we have to know that he hates humanity. We need to have like a fundamental reason behind it. Like what happened to him during the first Contact War, which maybe I should read one of the books, like because there's a book that covers Admiral Anderson's interaction with Saren. And
Oh.
it was the whole thing that actually like where shit hit the fan and Anderson got passed over for being a Spectre, because it was that mission that he alluded to in the game right before Shepard gets command of the Normandy. It's all fresh in my brain because I'm currently doing a long running playthrough on YouTube with the Mass Effect trilogy, but yeah, maybe if I read the novel, like I'll finally get like a look behind the curtain at like why Saren was motivated with. I mean, yeah, it's good that he's a xenophobic species and he just can't stand humanity and stuff like that. It's good, but there has to be something a little bit more, because like like when it comes to like issues of racism and stuff like that, there's always an underlying reason why someone is this way.
Yes.
You just don't come out saying, "Oh, I don't like these people," and that was my thing. Saren. So Saren was a good villain. He wasn't really the most compelling villain for me, but I did like him as the actual vector of the story and how everything got going. And like I said, he was basically a pawn. He was being manipulated by another powerful being.
Yes. Well, to let everybody know what the characters are, then we just it's a free for all after this one. Commander Shepard is your main player. Kaden Alenko and Ashley Williams are like the two squad people on your team that you start with. Garrus Vakarin, an Not Rex, Tali, Zora, Liara, Sony, and of course, Joker. I love Joker.
I love Joker too.
Just now his character model, I love his character model in 2 though. We will get to the end about that. So it's up to you guys on the floor. Where should we start with this game, or where do you guys want to go with it? Because I thought, like I said, I enjoyed Mass Effect 1, but it really had a lot of problems.
Okay, well let me give the overall breakdown of the game, and then we can basically like talk about everything in between at that point. All right, so basically the way the game starts out is the Normandy is getting a shakedown, is going on a shakedown cruise, and basically anyone that kind of knows like the Navy or just like maybe seeing Star Trek, shakedowns basically means this is the last run before the ship is completely commissioned, and saying that this is a ship of the line and stuff like that. So the Normandy is out doing a shakedown, but it's obvious that something's going on because it's going to a place called Eden Prime, and everybody knows it. Everybody's like, something's going on here. And you meet Shepard, you meet Captain Anderson at the time. He becomes an admiral by the end of the game. Actually, no, he becomes an admiral by the time we see him again in Mass Effect 3. And you meet Shepard, and Shepard finds out that he's been selected as a candidate for Spectres. And Spectres is a big deal because this is more or less the last step that humanity needs to prove to the rest of the Council species that humanity is ready to stand with the entire Council, the Council races in the Milky Way galaxy. As they're approaching Eden Prime, they get a distress signal from Eden Prime, and they're under attack by something. And right now, it looks like a ship, but they don't know for sure what's going on the ground just yet. So when Shepard hits the ground, with Caden and another crewman, and also Nihilus, who is the Spectre from the Council, who's a Turian, who's also given his appraisal of how how Shepard is going to conduct himself and maybe become a Spectre. As you get into it, you wind up meeting Ashley Williams, who's a chief at the time. She's an enlisted officer, not an actual commissioned officer. She was part of the squadron that relayed the distress signal in the attack and everything. She's the only survivor left from her squadron, so she joins up with Shepard, and they're all going to find the beacon, which is part of the reason why the Normandy was going to Eden Prime in the first place. They learn a little bit more about things going on. Nihilus gets ambushed and killed by Saren, as Saren is trying to cover up the reason why he's there. Saren is there to actually get the beacon for himself and learn more information about something called the Conduit. But he's also trying to find information about the Reapers, and he's also trying to find information out about the Mass Effect relays and their connection to the Citadel. All right, so basically, Shepard winds up catching up to it, but it's almost a stalemate because he gets there. Saren's already used the beacon, and Shepard comes into contact for the beacon for the first time, and he winds up getting it's explained in the game as a premonition, but ultimately by the time we get to Mass Effect 3, it's a data flood of information from the beacon because Prothean technology, interacts with other species in different ways and stuff like that. So Shepard wakes up. He's back in Normandy. They dragged him back there. They have to head back to the Citadel to get the report to the council. And that's when we come to find out, because of an investigation, things like that, Saren is pulling the strings and he's trying to do something, and it all has something to do with wiping out humanity. But the clues are there about the Reapers and things like that. So that's basically the gist of it. And you wind up traveling a bunch of different planets. That's one of the things I loved about Mass Effect. Like, you actually did space travel and exploration if you wanted to. You wind up picking up more. You wind up picking up more crewmates. Garrus Vakarian, he's a Turian. He was doing an investigation against Saren. With CSEC on board the Citadel. Things went awry, and Garrus got pulled off the investigation. So he actually asked if he can join Shepard on the mission because Shepard is now being tasked to find out what was Saren up to. You wind up picking up. Ashley becomes a full-time member of your crew after rescuing her on Eden Prime. Erdnot Rex shows up on Eden Prime, and it just happens to coincide with Garrus's investigation with Saren because Rex is a Krogan from the planet Tuchanka, and Rex is there. Rex is there trying to relay information that, hey, Saren's up to no good and stuff like that. He tries to talk to CSEC. CSEC's like, look, like, you're a troublemaker. Get out of here and stuff like that. And so he joins up with Shepard as well. You've also wound up meeting Tali, she's a Quarian, and Quarians are a race of spacefaring aliens who were who not so much exiled off their planet. They had to flee from their planet because their experiments with artificial intelligence led to a new race of species called the Geth, who are completely synthetic, having a revolution on the planet, and they take over the Quarians' home world. Let's see. Am I missing? I know I'm missing somebody. Oh, and then there's Dr. Liara Tassoni. She's the doctor of Matriarch Benezia, who we find out is connected to Saren in some way, while he's under this during the attack on Eden Prime, and also in his quest for the conduit. So, and you find out about Liara from the actual council when you become a Spectre. And so there's all the main characters right there. I think I got everybody. Yeah.
I will say this. It's so crazy because this is when we talk about cinematics in games and having things feel like a movie. This setup is a movie that I would just sit back and watch. It's so good on how all of it plays out.
Yeah,
that's true. The whole story, yeah.
Yeah, it's a cinematic experience.
It's strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will say this: BioWare definitely gets it, not just for the production, but for the overall writing of the story. I mean, like it reads like something that should have been like a movie.
Yeah. Well, but if they ever try to make like a movie adaptation, like straight up shot for shot of it, I would be not interested because then it's like we already got the movie, but now I just don't get to play. And like, what if Shepard is a man? Then it's gonna be like, oh, this is all wrong to me. You know what I mean? But like, not to you guys who played it as male Shep. If they did it as femme Shep, you'd be like, this is all wrong. You know what I mean? It'd be impossible.
I think this is the game where you also were able to make your dialogue choices.
Yes.
For it.
That was the most refreshing experience for me, where you could actually choose what you want to say, and then you have to reap the consequences of what you said. Because a lot of people play games, nowadays, and the dialogue is set. Like, it's like the developers, they know where they want their story to go. So, like when you're doing the dialogue, like you don't really get an opportunity to choose your own answers and stuff like that. And if you do choose your own answers, I mean, and technically this is the case in the Mass Effect series, for whether we're talking about Mass Effect, the original, or talking about Andromeda, it still all leads to a certain path. Yes. but you had more freedom of how you got to that path and things like that. And I enjoyed that, you know. And what I loved about the dialogue wheel, what I really loved about the dialogue wheel was that, okay, like say you had like a positive choice, a neutral choice, and a negative choice. Like say for example, you're confronting somebody, you know you have to kill them, or you have the option of killing them. And your positive choice is like, hey, we can talk this out. Your neutral choice is, why are you doing this? Your negative choice is, I will have to kill you. If those are the three quotes right there, when you choose one of those, like for example, if the negative quote is I will have to kill you, you wind up choosing that, and instead the character saying I will have to choose you, he'll say over my dead body.
Yeah, it's not exactly the same. Well, that was my brother-in-law. We got him into this game series, and he decided he was going to do like Renegade Shop, right? Like he's going to be just mean to everyone. And he had to stop choosing the negative choices partway through because he's like, okay, like the option that it says on the screen is like kind of mean, but then what Shepard actually says is just like vicious.
It's like wow, I didn't know I was controlling an asshole right now.
Like, wow, okay then, yeah.
And that's one of the formulas Bioware's known for, is making moral choices and making the dialogue. And definitely when you get into 2, where it makes you see, I think Paradigm is what I put it, and Renegade.
Paragon.
You get Paragon. Yeah. That okay. I'm sorry, I wrote it wrong. I was like, this Paragon something I should have.
We were with you. We knew what you.
The Paragon is in blue. The Renegade is in red. And when we get to Mass Effect 2, because LeRon, I punched the news anchor into. When you took.
So satisfying, is it not?
And let me tell yes. And when I did it in 2, it said I should have did it the first time I met you, and I was just like, LeRon did that because I was in this first game. I was being a good boy. I was being a good boy. I was being a good man in here and stuff. And so when she gave her the interviews, I was answering things correctly, and I thought it was gonna make me look good, and just didn't even think when LeRon said I punched the news anchor in the first Mass Effect. I was like, wait, you could do that? Like it literally was new to me. So it's amazing what this game did at that time. It still does. It's just like you haven't really fully got everything. You make all of the choices and see what is being said. You don't know what happens if you don't romance everybody. If you play only one character and not the other one, like you said, like me not playing Film Check, I feel like 50% of the game is missing.
Yeah, well, with all the decisions, I thought for a while after I played this series that I was going to be ruined for all other video games forever. Because like then I would go back to playing, Zelda, which obviously I love. I'm part of a Zelda podcast. But like it's like, oh, well, I already know what's going to happen. Like, I can't change the outcome.
I'll go ahead and say it. Mass Effect kind of ruined other RPGs for me.
Yeah.
And like I kind of hold RPGs up to a different standard after playing Mass Effect, and you know what, that's kudos to BioWare, because I was no longer a fan of RPG games. Like I hadn't actively played a new RPG. The last RPG game I played was Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that was PlayStation. That was PlayStation 2. Mass Effect was probably just getting off the ground as far as a concept. During that time frame. So Mass Effect setting bar for me. I still don't just run out and get RPGs like it's a new thing here.
Mm-hmm.
So the next RPG after following Mass Effect and Mass Effect Andromeda, because I saw the trilogy through to its end, and I got about halfway through Andromeda. Following those games, the next RPG I actively picked up was The Witcher 3. That's the next RPG I picked up, and
it's a good choice, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I own it on like 3 consoles, and I plan on buying it for Switch. Like I refuse to it. I'm not buying it on PS5.
I'm not buying it on the Switch. Like I had The Witcher 3 on the PC, and that's where I'm stopping.
That's completely good. I own the original Witcher 3 and the complete edition.
Mm-hmm.
Like when your job is giving you free games, you just take the free
You
games.
take
Oh,
them, yeah.
yes, yeah, true. Okay, so anyway, back to the breakdown of the game. The game is broken up across. We're gonna call them chapters, like 8 different segments of the game. The prologue and the Citadel. I consider that the whole same chapter, and things like that. Then you got tasks of finding Liara. You wind up getting assigned 2 planets initially from the Citadel councils. Like, go to find out what's going on in Novaria and find out what's going on a planet called Pharos. The reason why Pharos is a big deal is because Pharos is a human colony is a human colony that actually is kind of like a trade hub. Like, it works with other alien species and stuff like that, and something's going down over there. Novaria, there's a situation going on where Novaria has been cut off, and they believe that it may be connected to Saren. You come to find out on Novaria that Matriarch Benezia is there, which is Liara's mother, and she's there conducting experiments for Saren with a complement of the Geth there. You come to find out the experiments that Saren and Benezia, who is voiced by Marina Sirtis from Star Trek: The Next Generation, Counselor Deanna Troi. Yes, yeah. So that definitely got the Trekkie in me going. But Matriarch Benezia and Saren are cloning and trying to rebirth the freaking what's the species? God, I knew I was gonna.
Arachni.
Thank you. I don't know why. I don't know why I forgot about it. Given that I just completed the mission not too long ago.
Just left your brain.
Yeah. Yes, but they're doing experiments and they are rebirthing the Rachni, because the Rachni, under certain persuasion, could be the army that not only wipes out humanity but also ushers in the Reapers coming back. So yeah, you wind up fighting Matriarch Benezia, and then you learn about something called indoctrination. And indoctrination is actually what has happened to Saren. But we're still not aware of it, because they're thinking indoctrination is something that Saren is doing to everybody else. But we find out later that indoctrination is what's happened to Saren, and that's why he's hell-bent on not just, wiping out humanity, but also seeming like he's ready to subjugate the rest of the other alien species across the galaxy. So you got Novaria, you got Pharos, which are all big sections of the game. Then you wind up getting a new assignment called Vermeer, and you find out that Saren is still messing around with things, but now he's found a way to cure the Krogan of a malady that was caused during the Krogan Rachni Wars, that basically made the entire species sterile, and the council races actually have to have full culpability in this. The Solarians and the Asari and the Turians, they actually have culpability in this, because they turned around after the Krogans were their war heroes and basically wiped out the Rachni from becoming the scourge of the galaxy. They sterilized the Krogans because the Krogans were becoming too big of a power themselves.
Now,
yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the missions that you got the options to get rid of Rex.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was gonna come on to that in a moment. Yeah, but okay, so you find out on Vermeer that they've actually found a way to reverse the sterilization. I forget what they call it, the xenophage, the genophage.
Yeah.
The genophage. You find out that Saren's come out with a way, but the problem is that basically all the Krogan that are free of the genophage are completely mindless. They're like they're kind of zombies, but they're a war machine like type of zombie and stuff like that. And that's where you come. And Vermeer is probably one of the hardest missions in the game, because that's where you wind up losing not one, but you could wind up possibly losing a second character in that one mission. And when I say lose them, I mean they are gone from the history of the game.
Yeah,
after you hit trilogy,
after you hit Vermeer. Yeah. And then once the whole situation on Vermeer has been figured out and things like that, you come back minus one crewmate, and then like basically the council scrambles, because like, oh yeah, everything that you've been trying to prove to them is coming true. And now they don't know what to do, and they think that you are now a security risk. So they lock you down, Shepard and the crew of the Normandy down, and basically Shepard steals the Normandy and continues the mission and brings everything home in the final fight with Saren. And we find out that what's been pulling the strings for Saren is called the Reapers, an ancient race of sentient warships that basically every 50,000 years they run a cycle, and that cycle basically wipes out practically not all, but practically all of the
Like
intelligent
the top
civilization.
tier of
Yeah,
civilizations.
yeah. So
Wow.
like if you're at the top of the food chain, like you're
Sucks
getting
to be you.
you're getting erased from history, and lesser species that haven't evolved to that point, they're going to be around, and we'll see what happens. Uh, we find out more about that in Mass Effect 3, why that actually comes into being. But right now, all we know is like beyond this black hole, there's a race of warships that are completely sentient, and this is also why the Geth are involved in this whole thing, because the Geth revere the Reapers as the most advanced artificially intelligent civilization in the known universe. Um,
Yes.
yeah, and so there it is. That's basically the breakdown. Now we can actually talk about all the stuff we loved about the game.
Uh, okay, so I almost like screamed because I got rid of Rex. I'm like, no, that's not the decision.
No,
I
You let
don't do it. Because then 2 and
I
3, you got to deal with Reeve, and that
yeah
motherfucker's
yeah
worse.
yeah.
I
He
got
sucks.
I got rid of Rex because I didn't realize that I got rid of because it was my in my mindset I wasn't using Rex a lot, so it was just like I didn't need this character, and it did not hit me at all because I was just like, wait a minute,
Was that the main reason why? Was it because you just didn't have a familiarity with him? You weren't using him a lot?
I wasn't using him a lot.
Because in my gameplay, I did have a lot of situations where it seemed like I was not using my characters. Like I wasn't using them enough. But also, the game is not. Mass Effect's not like a Final Fantasy game where like
Mhm.
you're always rotating out your characters, because number one, Mass Effect's not a game where you can spend 9,900 hours like trying to beat
Right.
for the first time. Like a good player can beat Mass Effect in under 30 hours. And I'm saying under 30 hours because like you honestly like if you are below level 45 for your main character, you're going to have a hard time beating the game. You are.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. So
Uh,
but I understand I can understand part of it, you weren't familiar with Rex, so like it seemed like an easy decision to let him go. I get it.
Yeah, and plus, because like in my crew, I was using a lot of Garrus and Ashley, and when
Mhm.
I got to
You were
the
using the
second,
soldiers. You're using the
yeah,
soldiers.
when I got to the second part of using, because I was 20, like, let's see, the trilogy came out probably what 2000.
The trilogy came out. I'll look it up. Keep talking.
Okay, because I'm about 30 something, I think, or 20 something. When when I played the trilogy and I made that decision because I was using Ashley, but I even let Ashley die. And when me, LeRon, and I think Logan or some of the other people from Boss Rush, we was talking, and I was just like, yeah, Ashley was my girl. The first thing I heard was Ashley was a racist. And I'm like, wait,
Yes.
what? And I didn't. The narrative didn't hit me like that because it was I was so into the narrative of Mass Effect didn't hit me as hard as part two was. Like I was into like Mass Effect 2, I was into everything. The characters, the stories and everything, the emotion. And I guess it was just like two stood out with this narrative and not so much as one. I didn't pick up on any way somewhere with Ashley because I was just using her
Yeah,
as a
she's got
character.
better guns. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's what I do tend to save her because I now just usually do the DLC walkthrough of decisions for one, and then I just start at Mass Effect 2 when I replay.
Okay.
Like the
Okay.
storybook where you can just make all the choices. I tend to save Ashley because her guns are so much better than Caden's, but I hate Ashley so much. I hate her
You know
so
what?
much.
You know what? The reason why, and you know what? Maybe it's just the bisexual side of me or something. The reason why I saved Caden, number one, yeah, I felt like he had a little more depth than Ashley did. Like
Yeah.
Ashley did have a couple things going for me. I think that's because I have a bias. I have a bias, and it's more of a Star Trek bias. Like when I got into the
Mhm.
game, I was like, what? I want to try and be like I would. If I was Commander Shepard and I was like Captain Kirk or Captain Cisco from like the Star Trek series and stuff like that, how would I govern my crew and how would I govern my actions and stuff like that? And one of the things one of the reasons why for me, like when got to Vermeer and they got to the I think they call it the Hopeless mission.
Yeah.
Um, they call it the hopeless mission because you lose one of your major characters, and it's one of those decisions that it's never going to be reversed in the series.
And
and there's
I
nothing you can
kept
do to save him.
Yeah.
I kept Caden, because like you said, LeRon, like the bisexuality,
Well, no,
bisexual thing
there's
was,
more. There's more to it though. The main reason why I kept Caden is because every time after a mission was over and I went back and talked to the crew, like I learned a lot about all the crewmates, including Ashley and stuff like that. But the one thing that struck me was that Caden was one of the original humans that was affected by element 0 radiation, and he was one of the first generations of biotics. And I was like, hold on, he's a legacy. He's a legacy, and he doesn't, and not only is he a legacy, he's a survivor. He didn't have the same like medical and genetic problems that a lot of the kids that he did. Like he's unique. And so it really came down to it when I was like, okay, like when both of them were saying like either one of us can go, you have to make the decision, Commander. I had to really think this out because like Ashley is a wonderful soldier. She's a wonderful soldier.
Mhm.
She's diehard. But the main problem is she seemed like she was intolerant. She was always questioning my decisions about why I was having people on board the ship who were not humans. And even though you have in a lot of your dialogue with her, you even tell her that like working alongside other people, whether they're alien or whether they're other human beings, it's always a learning thing. It's a growth factor, and it seemed like she didn't really want to like get with it. Now what's crazy about the whole thing is like if she actually survived, it's kind of like she learns the lesson by the time we meet her again in Mass Effect 3, because in Mass Effect 2 she was a bitch. In Mass Effect 2 she was a bitch.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, so is Caden if you save him.
Oh, Caden, yeah. Caden was
and I'll still use the word bitch. He's still kind of a bitch.
Yeah. Because we know Caden is gay by the time we get to Mass Effect 3. So yeah, we kind of get it.
And see, and that was the thing about it when I got rid of Ashley and kept Caden, it was because I wanted to have a gay romance in it. This is the first time in a video game that I have ever played to be able to do something like this. And so I was just like, I don't care anything about Ashley. I want Caden because I want to have that romance.
Let me ask you a question. Did you think you were going to get the romance in the first game?
I actually did not.
Okay.
Like I didn't know that if it was gonna be part of the game that how sometimes things are like already linear in this trigger, and every time you played it, you got to go through it anyways. I didn't know that it was gonna be optional or not because in 3, like I think it was still optional because you was getting kind of close to the end of the game, and so it was just like I made that decision to romance Caden, because if I tried to romance anybody, I was gonna romance Garrus because he was and it wasn't even about him being a different species or anything. Something about Garrus, his attitude and his personality is just attractive.
Just vibes with shepherds. I almost always romance.
Yeah, that was the bromance. Like, wait, as female shepherd though, like she could hook up with Garrus, right?
Yep, and I do.
Okay. Yeah.
I have.
Okay.
As Fem Shep, she could hook up with Garrus, but for Male Shep and Garrus, it was just a bromance.
Yeah, just buddies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like now we're playing 2 and everything, and Mallory, you can attest to this. How I was just like, okay, I'm developing feelings for Jacob. Is it Jacob?
Yeah, you said Jacob, yeah.
Yeah, because
Jacob has a wife.
I don't
Not
care.
until 3.
Wait, what was it? Wait, I thought he had something going on in the second game. Okay,
No,
okay.
you can romance him as Femshep in Mass Effect 2.
See, you know what? Maybe I really need to go back and play
as Femshep. It's a whole new world, man.
Well, besides the fact I love her voice. Who was it? Jennifer Hale is the voice actress for it? Who's Femshep voice?
Oh my gosh, it's
yeah, Jennifer Hale. Yep. Yeah, I love her voice.
Yeah, and line delivery, like we said before, you should do it.
Yeah, I think I will. But it'll ultimately be after my whole replay of the entire trilogy, though, because that's my running YouTube series, which I've so neglected. I'm so sorry. Like it's just it's a bunch of editing stuff and things like that, and I'm trying to refine techniques, and we can save that for the end of the show.
How far are you in that one?
I'm at the end of Mass Effect. I'm at the end of
Oh,
Mass
so you
Effect,
are at the end.
but still,
Okay.
but still, right now there's only 3 episodes up on my YouTube channel. There's only three
Okay.
episodes. Yeah. So and I'm also trying to find a way to streamline it to make it a little bit smaller because I've gone back and I've rewatched some of my episodes. Some of my episodes are over an hour and 20, not an hour and like an hour and about 20 minutes, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I need to streamline it. I need to find a way because like yeah, that's why I do like that YouTube now has you able to put chapters and stuff in there, so
Yeah.
you can so like if folks don't want to see like the minute details of what's going on in Mass Effect, they can skip these
You can break it
timestamps.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do like that, but I think I need to find a way. Like I need to get those one. I need to try ultimately, and it may be better once I get the Mass Effect 2.
Okay.
I need
Uh,
to try to get them under 45 minutes.
Madry, what was your choices, your decisions? Like, what did you get out of Mass Effect?
So yeah, so the first one, again, I don't know if I actually have said this on air yet. I think I said it before we started recording. I have never actually beaten Mass Effect 1 straight
Mhm.
up playthrough.
Mhm.
I've played a good bit of it. Honestly, I I have a little bit of mild epilepsy, and the jumping really bothered me.
Oh yes.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I couldn't play for longer than like maybe half hour, 40-minute segments because I would get a really
Hmm.
bad headache and I
Mhm.
would start to like feel whatever, kind of dizzy. So I just gave up and never beat it. But when I do the interactive story mode, most of the decisions I make are obviously just based on how it's going to impact the other games.
Mhm.
So you always have to save Rex, A, because otherwise you'll get Reeve and he is capital T, capital
He
W,
is
the worst. he
he oof.
he sucks. Which we can discuss later. Having Reeve is the only way you can save Morden in 3, but we can talk about that when we get to 3.
Hmm.
Wait,
Uh,
what?
yeah, you can save Morden. I'll tell you all about it. It's you have
I
I
I
to make
saved.
a bunch of terrible
Yeah.
decisions.
I cried. I cried
Yup,
in Mass Effect 3
same.
with Morton because he
He's the
just keep
best.
going. Just
I
keep
love
going.
him. I love him. Yeah.
Just
I also just love Rex. My puppy. I just got a puppy. I named him Rex with a W. So yeah.
oh,
So his name is Rex. So
Ah.
yeah, you gotta save Rex. I also, like I said, I kind of go back and forth because sometimes I will romance Caden in 3, so I'll save Caden. But usually I do save Ashley just because she's got the sniper rifle, even though she's the worst. I saved the council because they are a pain in the ass in
Mhm.
3 or 2. All of the other games, if you don't, if you sacrifice them, the new council's like, well, last time you killed us, so I'm not gonna trust you. Um,
Something killed us.
yeah, right, exactly. Like, okay. And then I usually save the Rachni Queen, even though that doesn't end up really mattering because the Rachni end up being alive again, no matter what you do there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that was
So
yeah.
that one doesn't matter.
And actually, I'll save what I'm going to say about that whole thing to the after we talk about Mass Effect 3. The one thing. So yeah, let me just do my rundown real quick.
Okay, go ahead, LeRon.
Yeah, because yeah, saved Rex. Spared the Rachni Queen. You know what? I spared the Rachni Queen before I even realized that the Rachni was going to be a thing. Because it was like based on the history and everything, like yeah, they got wiped out and stuff, but like just by some sheer luck, there was one egg dispatched and out in the middle of space, and that egg did not know anything. That future queen did not know anything about what was going on with species because by the time they allowed it to birth, the Rachni were wiped out.
Right.
So yeah. So I spared it just because of that. I was like, you know what, this particular one has the chance, and it's even said after learning about the history of their species that it will do things right by the rest of the galaxy, and it wanted to be a part of the actual spacefaring civilization and stuff like that. So that was my main reason for sparing the Rachni Queen. Yeah. I saved Rex. Rex came off as very callous when you first get him, and like it was like pulling teeth trying to get information out of him every time, like in between missions, and you had your chance to talk to the crew and learn more about them and stuff like that. But when Rex told the whole situation about how like like the clans are warring, and come to find out the warring faction, like his father was the leader of it, and he had to kill his dad to try and unite the species, but
Hmm.
but after killing his dad, he realized the species was not ready to unite as a whole and stuff like that. That whole thing right there, that's one of the reasons why when it was like when when you're on the planet and the Solarian's like, hey, you're gonna have to kill that guy. They're like, the hell I am. Like I'm not killing him. Like you guys better figure it out, or I'm going to kill you. and that's really how that went. Yeah, of course we already know I spared Caden over Ashley and stuff like that. There are days when I think about, like I need to do a mission and I need to redo it again and save her. As I'm doing my playthrough of it right now, like I'm doing my original choices, so I'm sparing Caden in this playthrough, of course. But
Okay.
I may do a separate save file, like right before we start the Vermeer mission,
Mhm.
and go the opposite way and continue running off of that save file. It'll be a lot easier than trying to like play through Mass Effect 1 again. But
Right.
Oh, good, good, good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I saved the council. The reason why I saved the council is because I'd already built a rapport with the council. It might not
Mhm.
have been the best rapport with them because the council is doing what they think is right by the rest of the galaxy. And like I had friends like who were watching my playthrough that already played the game, so they were really trying to sway me to go dark side and just like start over and let humanity be number one, stuff like that. And I was like, were you guys not paying attention? Like the whole thing is that humanity needs to stand with the rest of the galaxy. So
Yeah.
stuff like that. And everybody gave me a hard time. They're like, oh man, you're just way too soft. I was like, you know what? It's easier. What's the saying? It's easier to deal with the devil you know than the one you don't, and stuff like that. Like I'm already used to I'm already used to the bullshit that this council's throwing at me. So why am I going to introduce some brand new people and think like these are people we've had wars with? What makes me think that these people are going to be more apt to play games with us? The next time around and stuff like that. Um, of course, Captain Anderson becomes an ambassador because I hate Ambassador Udina.
Yeah, he's
Hate him, and I hated him before his resolution at Mass Effect 3. I hated him long
yeah.
before that. Yeah,
He was the one in the white outfit, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
the dude that was always screaming and had a stick up his ass.
Oh yeah, the first time I met him, I was just like, and it's great when Bioware set up characters like that, like they're written that way, and the voice acting helps that personality, that characteristics, because if they come in a certain way, you be like, oh, you was designed to be hated.
I'm curious. Did they hire that voice actor and said, "Hey, we want you to be like this," and he was
He's
like,
the worst.
okay.
Hey, yes. So, anything else, LeRon, before we get into the controversy?
That's pretty much it. Yeah, save the council. Yeah, that's all the big decisions that affect the next game going forward.
Okay. So there was controversy, I think, a few days after Mass Effect came out. Mass Effect had an optional subplot where the players could develop a romantic relationship with a non-player character. If the relationship becomes more intimate, a cutscene containing partial nudity and sexual activity is shown. The scene first came under scrutiny in an article by neoconservative blogger Kevin McCullough, who employed statements such as Mass Effect can be customized to sodomize whatever, whomever, however the game players wishes, and with this over-the-net capabilities of retro orgasmic rape, is just the push of a button away. The article was criticized by the gaming community and longtime anti-obscenity campaigner Jack Thompson, who said that this contrived controversy is absolutely ridiculous. Although McCullough ultimately issued an apology, he still considers the material offensive. Similarly, a Fox News program by Martha McCallum discussed the sexual content of the game. McCullough stated that the game leaves nothing to the imagination and features the ability for players to engage in full graphic sex. Self-proclaimed psychologist specialist Cooper Lawrence and video game journalist Jeff Keighley were also interviewed. Lawrence described sexual content in video games as teaching their active users to consider women as objects of desire, valued solely for their sexuality. She added that the game's player character is a man who decides how many women he wants to be with. Kylie focused on challenging the accuracy of her statements and asked her if she actually played the game, to which she responded no. BioWare's parent company Electronic Arts requested a correction from Fox News, but they simply responded that the company had been offered a chance to appear on the channel. After watching someone play the game for about 2.5 hours, Lawrence eventually retracted her earlier statements. She added that she had been told the game was similar to pornography and noted that she had seen episodes of Lost that are more sexually explicit. In the interim, largely as a reaction from a offended gaming community, her latest book attracted many customers' reviews on Amazon, which rated it 1 star out of 5. Many of these reviews satirically noted that they had not not read her book, but heard from someone else that the book was bad and thus voted low. Mass
Yes.
Effect
I
was
love it.
also Mass Effect was also banned in Singapore for a short time before it was lifted with a M18 rating. Censors in the country said that a scene with the alien and human female caressing was the main reason why the game was not allowed to be sold in video game stores. And so the Fox News story was called Sex Box, and they ended up doing the interview and
Mm.
having a panel. And when if you thought that the uh the Russian level in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 was big as a news story, you did not know anything until you seen the sex box controversy and how that popped off for about almost a month. Like Fox News wanted some heat, they got some heat, and the Cooper Lawrence, she got mad heat for it. Like, and you could actually go on Amazon, and I think they still have the low star ratings of her book, but they ripped into her.
Hmm.
Like, and it
Well,
was big.
here's what I have to say about her book ratings. It's like you play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah.
And,
If you're gonna go on a TV channel and talk about something that you don't know about.
and as far as this whole being a
Sorry.
Fox News controversy, like here's what I know, and it's also because I'm plugged into a lot of political stuff and things like that. It's red meat to the base. Like,
Yep.
I mean, as gamers, we get attacked all the time for saying that, like we're investing in a very useless endeavor. Like we're wasting our time, we're wasting our lives doing this stuff like that, and things like that. So so an affiliation like Fox News, for example, like I said, it's red meat to the base. Like it's just helping other people that already do not understand or like video games have a better narrative for why it shouldn't be a thing and stuff like that. So like of course like someone finds out that you can have a sexual relationship with somebody in the game, they think it's pornography right off the bat. I'm not surprised there. Like people don't use common sense.
No, well, and I watched the Fox News clip this morning, Ed, actually, after I saw that on the agenda, because I hadn't heard of it. I didn't play Mass Effect when it first came out. I hadn't heard of this controversy. I was not surprised to hear there was one, but I watched the clip, and like the guy that was making the arguments in favor of Mass Effect just was making some great points and was just like, no, like you literally, it's not just like, oh, like you could just have sex with anyone you want. You have to like build the relationship up to the point where the narrative continues. Like I played through all of Mass Effect 2. I wasn't aware that there was a romancing option. I didn't romance anyone. I didn't have a cutscene. I had nothing. And then like I was playing 3 and I still wasn't really talking to anyone. And my husband was like, "Are you not romancing anyone?" And I was like, "Am I not what?" Like I didn't. You don't have to do that option. Like it's not like required. We're not like the youth. Like come on, guys.
And this is the Jeff Keighley from the Game Awards and everything in the industry. Yeah,
I would say one thing. Jeff Keighley is not one of my favorite people. But I will say when he's an activist for gaming, he is the activist that we need.
yeah. I was just like, what in the world? And for this, and we know that when you have a controversy like this, you're going to sell more copies. You look at Grand Theft Auto, like how it sold more copies when the hot coffee thing came out. Oh, and if you have not seen, if you not have read about the hot coffee situation with Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, go watch that video and go learn about it, because they did do a settlement, but everybody who was going to get paid out was only going to make $15. Don't forget, San Andreas was $50. So what was Rockstar lose? Rockstar didn't lose that much, and they made that money back after it. And everybody and people were just like, when they realized that there's just so much, you just got to watch it. You would be surprised, because it was a PC mod and you can only do it in PC. They was trying to ban the game on PlayStation 2 because you couldn't do it. There was no way to mod the PS2 version. but they thought anyway. Go watch that Hall Coffee thing, and you would literally be amazed. That and Postal has some controversy, and wow. So the last thing we're going to talk about with Mass Effect is the Mako. I hate it. I super
Mm-hmm,
hate this.
mm-hmm.
I hate the
Nope, not a
controls.
fan.
I hate I hate the shooting reticle and all of that. Um, it's it it was nonsense. It shouldn't have been in this game, and that's all I
Mm-mm.
have to say.
And that's all I have to say. Yeah, I say I'm never a fan of a vehicle in a game, like any game. Like we're talking even like horses and stuff. Like anytime you have to do combat from a vehicle of any sort, I hate it. And this was one of the worst examples that I've ever had to play. So
Twilight Princess, of course.
I am so bad at everything on the horse in Twilight Princess head. I'm so bad at all of it.
Would you have to do the duels with the one thing?
That big like gremlin guy on
Yeah,
the bridge.
on the bridge.
Oh my god. Yup. The worst.
LeRon, any thoughts about the Mako?
Okay, so in my playthrough right now, I'm playing with mods and everything to give it a 4K and a more updated experience and stuff like that. Even with the mods installed that I have that are supposed to make the Mako experience, a much better thing to deal with, it's still painful. And I I kind of understand what was going on, but at the same time, like you've got the Normandy. The Normandy technically is a landing ship. Like when I say landing ship, I mean it makes atmospheric entry and it can drop you off. It doesn't necessarily like hit the ground, but it can drop you off and stuff like that. So why was there a need to be dropped off at a certain point on the Mako and then have to drive to it? It just didn't make any sense to me. The one thing I will say though is like if you use the Mako correctly, it actually helps get you more experience points because like when you run a situation with like Thresher Maws, those giant worms, stuff like that, you use the Mako to soften them up. Then you jump out of the Mako with your characters and finish the fight, with your characters on the ground, and you actually get more experience points that way than you do by just having by the Mako like killing them. Right. Unfortunately, I just had to Mako kill him.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
My main problem is like it was like imagine trying to bounce a ball, bounce a underinflated balloon, you just trying to bounce it. That was mainly my problem with the Mako. It felt like that.
Yep.
Yeah,
so touchy the controls. And,
yeah.
The physics in the ragdoll, it did not feel good.
I mean, the characters in the game didn't ragdoll the same way this vehicle did, and this vehicle weighs tons.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like theoretically, it would make sense, right? If the physics were off, because you're on a different planet. But you're right, when you're on foot, it doesn't do that. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Which bad.
Exactly. So everybody, that was Mass Effect 1. We're gonna jump into Mass Effect 2. This was released on January 26th of 2010, and EA actually took over and did the publishing. They didn't own BioWare at this time. But Mass Effect 2 came out on PC, on Xbox 360 and PS3 originally. The story takes place within the Milky Way galaxy during the 22nd century, where humanity is threatened by an insectoid alien race known as the Collectors. The player assumed the role of Commander Shepard again, an elite human soldier who must assemble and gain the loyalty of a diverse team and stop the enemy in a suicide mission. The characters are, of course, Shepard, Miranda Lawson, Jacob Taylor, Mordin Solis, Garrus Vakarian, Jack Grunt, Tali Zara, Thane Krios, Samara, and the daughter of it, Morinth, Legion, Joker, Eddie or Edie.
Yeah,
Edie. And the Elusive Man. I will say about the Elusive Man, I like his character look, and I love his eyes. His eyes from the darkness. That it was. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, love that. You were able to search for minerals and buy gas for your ship to move around. The minerals help you upgrade your weapons and armor. They removed the Mako and they put in the Paragon and the Renegade system. So your choices will make you great or make you evil. And sometimes you could weigh out with it. You normally level up throughout a mission. So even if you did a side mission, you would get some experience points and level up. Throughout the game in the first Mass Effect, as long as you played, you was leveling up. You know, it was kind of like basic RPG in that sense.
Yep. The one thing I will say, one thing I kind of loved about the Paragon and Renegade situations is okay. So actually, let me synopsize the entire story first of all. Okay, so the game starts off. Shepard has full command of the Normandy at this point. Like he's still Spectre. He's still Spectre, but he's also working more with the human council as well as the Citadel Council, because humanity is now a part of the councils. The Normandy gets attacked, it gets blindsided and attacked, and gets destroyed. And in the process of being destroyed and trying, Shepard winds up being killed and lost in space because the Normandy is destroyed. We fast forward. I think they said the Lazarus Project was what, 3 years?
2 years.
2 years. Okay, the Lazarus Project.
I know that.
It's cool. It's cool. Basically, the next scene opens up. Shepard is being woken up. He's in a facility, and he's being woken up and saying like, "Hey, you need to wake up and you need to get out of there because we're under attack." And Shepard finds out that he's been brought back to life through from the organization called Cerberus, which we heard about a little bit about Cerberus in the previous Mass Effect game. Mm-hmm. We knew they were an organization of humans that were trying to work to advance humanity's interest in the galaxy, and it did not coincide with the council species. Shepard winds up meeting Jacob and Miranda, and he comes to find out that like this is a Cerberus facility. Yeah, Cerberus invested millions of dollars. I think that's millions of credits actually, to bringing you back to life and stuff like that. And so after that. They wanted before Shepard can even get his bearings about him. They wind up having to go to another planet because these race of aliens called the Collectors are harvesting humans and removing all settlements, all human settlements and stuff like that. So that's how the game is set up. Like all of a sudden, like before Shepard can even figure out like what's going on, what's happened to him, like he's already thrust into a mission and it's not necessarily working with the council. So let's see. So throughout the game, you wind up meeting a bunch of different characters after you meet the Elusive Man who runs the Cerberus organization, and Shepard, depending on how you do it, Shepard tells the Elusive Man like, listen, like I will work with you, but at some point you might wind up working for me because of the new Paragon and Renegade system. So Shepard just lays it out there, and so he has this uneasy alliance with Cerberus, because in the one time that he does actually have an interaction with the council's like you're affiliated with Cerberus. We don't really have to listen to you, but we'll let you stay a Spectre even though you're dead.
Seems legit.
Yeah. So Shepard is now working to figure out what's going on with the Collectors and why they're trying to wipe out humanity and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, he winds up getting dossiers for different characters, and those characters are wind up becoming his crew. That being Mordin Solus, Garrus Vakarian, a biotic. I was about to say psionic. A biotic named Jack. A new Krogan character named Grunt. Nice name, by the way. If you get the season pass and the DLC, like you can also get 2 more characters, Zaid Masani and Kasumi, which I love that character.
Dude, Kasumi rocks. Zaid is the worst in every way, but Kasumi is awesome.
Yes. Okay, so I've never played the DLC.
Oh my god! Yes.
Do it just for Kasumi.
Here's the cool thing about it. If you get the DLC, you can get those characters before you get anybody else.
Yeah, you don't
Oh,
even have to have
really?
a
Yeah.
mission to get them. Like you just
Yeah.
what is Zaid is on Ilium, you just wander in and he's like, "Hey, I'm on your team. What's up?"
Yep.
And then
And
Kasumi's on the Citadel.
Kasumi's intro is so
So
hilarious
good.
because you walk into the Citadel and the Citadel's changed, by the way. Like the Citadel's completely different
Yes.
from how it looks, which I love the overhaul they did to the Citadel because I'll be honest with you, like there were certain times when I was in Mass Effect 1 playing the Citadel and just running back and forth places, I was falling asleep. It was boring.
Yeah.
It was boring. And that's one thing I will also give kudos to BioWare. They actually revamped the game to make it more to get you more involved into it and not lose your interest. But anyway, going back to
Oh
how
no,
you
the DLC was in the trilogy, right? I think it was
yeah,
in the Mass Effect trilogy.
okay, yeah, the DLC wasn't a trilogy. Here's the thing about it. It's kind of weird because they kind of picked and choose what they gave you in the DLC for the trilogy. For Mass Effect 2, they gave you both those characters as their DLC, but there was still some other stuff. Like you had to get the Arrival DLC, which the Arrival is amazing. Like everybody, if you have to spend money on any of the DLC for Mass Effect 2, get the Arrival. That is
Okay.
that is the one that bridges the end of Mass Effect 2 to Mass Effect 3. It's a whole new mission, and you get to play as Shepard, but you only get to play only as Shepard. So it's a one man mission. Uh,
Ooh.
yeah, but at the end of that, and I will give spoilers as we get to the end of our talk of Mass Effect 2 about that
Okay.
because I feel like everybody needs to know about it. But there's also other DLC. There's another DLC called Overlord, and Firewalker. But anyway, Kasumi. Like the first time you meet her, you guys normally gets to Citadel. Shepard's going to talk to the council, let them know, hey, I'm back, and you might want to know about some things. And as he's getting off the Normandy and getting debriefed by CSEC and stuff, like there is all these advertisements going around there. And there's this one advertisement in particular where she's trying to sell you this gun, and it's one of those things like you can interact with it immediately, or you can ignore it and try to get to the where you need to go on the Citadel. If you keep ignoring it, it keeps popping up, and then eventually it's like, hey, what else do I have to do to get your attention and talk to me?
Oh, I've never ignored it. Oh my god. I always just talk to it right away.
Yes, yeah. She will badger you. I think she'll badger you 4 times. And the
Shepard,
fourth
you
time,
dummy.
and the fourth time is so insistent that it's like, oh my god, what do you want? And then that's how you meet Kasumi, and she's a tech specialist, but she's also a thief.
Yeah,
So this is
awesome.
like this is Mass Effect's version of Catwoman, in my opinion. Kasumi's one of the best characters, and I was so happy that we got to see her again in Mass Effect 3, even though she wasn't a main character. I was so happy though, even Zaid had his moments, and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's all the characters. Morton Solus is a Solarian scientist. He's one of the people that have been researching the genophage. He was I forgot his history of the genophage because he wasn't the one that created the genophage, but he was researching genophage because he needed to see like what ultimately it was going to birth out.
They
Ultimately
re-upped the genophage is what his history with it
Yeah.
is. So it was starting to become less effective.
That's right.
And then his team went and created basically a second genophage.
A better strain. Yeah.
Right.
You had a character. You wound up on a mission to the outpost Omega, where we meet another good character,
Arya Talon.
Arya. Yes,
Oh.
yeah,
Yes.
voiced by Carrie-Anne Moss from the Matrix. And
Evils in every sense of the word.
I was like,
if I was gonna be an evil person,
I was like, man, I was like, I can't believe this is Trinity right now. This is Trinity. On Omega, though, you're tasked with finding an assassin named Archangel, and what's crazy is while I was playing it, I was like, every time I was hearing new information about Archangel, I was like, this is fucking Garrus. This is Garrus.
You called it.
If this isn't Garrus, I am not gonna play this game anymore. Yeah. So Shepard gets his reunion with Garrus Vicarian, which is phenomenal. And then And then let's see, Jack. Like I said, Jack is a biotic. She's probably one of the most powerful biotics you're going to meet in human biotics. I'll say that human biotics you will meet in the series. Because she was part of an academy that all they did was just basically take these young kids and push them to their limits and stuff like that. Grunt. He's a Krogan. Basically, he's a clone, but he's like the perfect version of the Krogan. The doctor that was doing that did the work and birthed Grunt, he basically found Saren's logs from the Vermeer incident, and he made a way to perfect it to make a Krogan that was free of indoctrination, that not had any adverse effects of the genophage, and also was actually a viable candidate, to become the leader of the Krogan species.
Can I say before you go on, I love Grunt. I think he was better than Rex.
Grunt is fun. I like Grunt a lot.
That's all I can say.
I might have named my puppy Grunt if it wasn't such a stupid name.
I love Grunt for the fact that it was like having a child. It was like having a child. Yeah. Like you actually got to mold him and sculpt him, and sculpt him into like whatever you want him to do. In the second half of the game, you wind up getting more dossiers to pick up a couple more characters. When this is where we got to some really the second half characters in my opinion were the best characters, because you actually get a real assassin, Thane Krios. And man,
yes,
Thane is one of the coolest characters to ever grace a video game, in my opinion.
So complex. I love him.
He has something like a ninja / samurai mentality about him.
Like a vibe,
yeah. Because when he kills Nasasura, I keep Nasana, he was just like I think. I don't know if you were able to choose anything, but he was just like, I want to say a prayer for something. And you asked, like, do you want to pray for her? He's like, no, I want to pray for myself for killing her. And it was just like,
he's like, I need to pray for the wicked. And Shepard's like, you don't need to pray for her. And that's when he says, like, no, the wicked is me. Like, I'm praying for myself. I was like, I like this guy.
Exactly.
Now, here's the thing. Like, Nasana Dantius, she was in the first Mass Effect game. She was the Asari diplomat who her sister had gone rogue and was she a slaver? I can't remember for sure, but that was a mission that you got. While you were during Mass Effect 1. She asked to meet you at the Citadel in the bar. And she told you that basically she was being blackmailed by her sister, ultimately. Well, she was being blackmailed by people who held her sister hostage, and because of her position on the Citadel, that she could not be involved, because like she'd already done enough and things like that. And then you come to find out later that when you go and you try to rescue her sister is actually a bad guy. And yeah, there was a little bit of a shakedown thing going where she was trying to, out her sister, in the embassy, but also that her sister was trying to horn in on her territory. There was a lot of BS going on in that first game. So Nasana Dantius is basically tying up a loose string from Shepard's mission in the first game. And it just so happens that Shepard didn't realize that was what was going on until he saw who the target was.
Wow.
Yep. Let's see. So yeah, Thane Krios. Thane. I loved him, and it was interesting because their species is a coexisting species with the Hanar, the jellyfish, the jellyfish aliens and stuff like that. So that was.
Is those the ones that be doing the preaching and thing? Something like
where they're like what do they call them?
The Enkindlers.
Yes. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, the Enkindlers were the Protheans. Yep. Yeah. And then you got Justicar Samara. Samara is basically she comes off as a bounty hunter, but she's actually more of a law figure in Asari society. This is the most powerful biotic in the series, in my opinion.
Like existence. Yes. Yeah. Like at the part at the end where you always have to pick a biotic to like get you through that part.
Oh yeah, it's her. It's her.
I think I've tried, like, just out of curiosity, someone else once or twice, but like it's always Samara.
Man, and her story. her story is very tragic too, because
So
like
sad.
because she has two daughters, and both daughters, have succumbed to their biotic powers to the point where they're basically a threat against all Asari existence. So they wind up having to go into these monasteries where they can no longer interact with the not just the Asari but the rest of the rest of the galactic civilization.
Yeah, Samara, I love her. Her character design is spot on. Like I wouldn't change anything about her.
Hmm.
Like
Oh, she looks so regal and like
Yeah.
ethereal and like very commanding. I like Samara a lot.
did,
She's
did,
a cool
did,
character.
did you visit her in the ship and she's just meditating and you see
Yeah,
her blue
just
eyes?
chilling
I'm
and just
like,
glowing.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, I
ah.
see you.
I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm here for this.
Yeah. Also, you get your reunion with Tali. Like the reunion's kind of conflicted, but it all works out because Tali winds up you wind up running across Tali, and Tali needs help because there's been an incident in the fleet, and it has to do with her father, and it's kind of tragic. And then my other favorite character, you wind up getting a one more character. It's late in the game, but you wind up
Yep.
getting one more teammate, the Geth Soldier Legion. And I will say this:
Ah.
Legion, Legion is the best. Legion is the best overall. Like I need to put a top 10 of my favorite characters of the entire Mass Effect trilogy up,
Uh-huh.
and I guarantee you he'll be in my top 3.
I think there's a reason why they give you him so late in the game because I think it would like break it because he's so powerful. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Oh yeah,
he's got
but
such great guns and such great powers and like
and that was the other thing too. Like man, like when you're on that mission and everyone's like, hey, somebody's helping us.
yeah, like
Yeah.
we didn't
Somebody-
shoot that guy. Like
Somebody's helping us. What's going on here?
Legion is just he's so unexplainable because he's just like you meet him and you just be like I wish I had you from the first game.
yes,
I like
from the
I
beginning. Hmm.
like he's what if you're doing a top 10 list, LeRon, I want to do a top 10 list of characters I wish was in the whole trilogy and they never died. They never had the option to die because Legion would definitely be on that list. Like he is like cool. He's his voice acting just that's the thing about this Mass Effect series. This voice acting really brings this character
Really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and I love the interactions that you get between Legion and Tali,
Mhm.
and it requires a lot of strategy in the game to make sure you
That
have
was-
enough
That
reputation.
was so hilarious because when Tally gets to the ship, the first thing that sets her off is you have Edie.
Yeah, I know. And then it's like, hey, so we had a different AI, and that really made you angry. Now we actually
Now we
have
have a Geth.
an actual Geth. Is that cool? That's cool, right? That's fine. Okay, cool.
And it was funny because even Miranda was like, "Look, you need to get these people in line before I do something."
Yeah, like okay.
and that's
And
the thing
Miranda's also another powerful ass biotic. It was
Yes.
like you know what? We're just gonna overload you with biotics this game.
Yup, we're gonna stack
But
your
see-
team.
But see, that's the thing with Mass Effect 2. This cast is perfect.
They're great.
Like this probably may be one of my best casts in the video game outside of Nintendo. That I have literally encountered and just be like, no one can match this.
Yep.
There's some characters that you like, okay, that's cool, but then when you find out about their backstory, when you use them, when you interact them, make those choices, it's just like, okay, you're my favorite, I love you.
It was a more compelling story than Mass Effect 1.
Exact-
And Mass Effect 1 was compelling. Mass Effect
Right.
1 was compelling. But this time they actually got you. They found the heart because like they actually
emotionally invested.
yeah.
because here's the thing about it. Like I guarantee you, it would have been a extremely hard decision of Caden versus Ashley if we had this same level of story focus in Mass Effect 1 that we do in
Yeah.
2. And that's why I am so glad. Technically, the suicide mission, you can lose a lot of people in that, but
Mhm.
but they also said, hey, like if you do things right, everybody walks away this time.
Yep.
Everybody, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I talked about all the characters basically. So like, as Shepard's doing the investigation, finding out about the collectors, a lot of things come up about the collectors. First of all, one of the major things is when the collectors attack. What was the planet?
Horizon, is that the one?
Yeah, when the collectors attack Horizon, and you meet up with one of the survivors from the Vermeer mission, depending on who it is, Ashley or Caden, depending on who it is. On Horizon, you learn that the collectors aren't just some random species out there in the galaxy. The collectors are the leftovers of the Protheans.
Yep.
And these and then everyone's like, okay, so what happened to the Protheans? What really happened to the Protheans? Because the most advanced civilization that we know of before our existence, they're these guys. What happened to them? And then you come to find out that the Protheans was the most tragic story, because not only did Reapers try to wipe them out, they subjugated their species and turned them into a lesser servant species, which was crazy because that ultimately is what happened to the what were the creatures on the Citadel? The keepers.
Keepers.
Yeah. So whatever happened to the Protheans, they'd already done before with the keepers.
Well, and then they do it for all the other species throughout the course of this game.
Whichever one, yeah, whichever
with the husks, the banshees, and the marauders.
Yep, that's true. Because we also learned in Mass Effect 2 that the Citadel had that the Reapers had changed their approach to how they were actually wiping out the species. They were now basically harvesting the most advanced species in the galaxies and turning them into their army. So something had shifted. Something had shifted during the last cycle up to now. Something had shifted, and so their plans were changing and stuff like that. So yeah, on Horizon you come to find out, and then the other kicker is that not only are the Protheans working for the Reapers, there is one new Reaper that's his mission to kill and destroy Shepard, and actually that's my favorite villain, Harbinger.
Yeah, it's pretty good to give a face to the Reapers, right? Where it brings it in. I do get so annoyed every time I'm fighting, and then it's like, you have one guy left, and then it's like, I'm assuming direct control. And you're like, oh,
yes.
I hate that. He was almost dead. Now he's got full barriers.
That was the craziest part about that fight, because Harbinger, first of all, I was like, okay, who is this that keeps shouting my name?
This will hurt you, Shepard.
And I was like, this is a grudge, but who is this? And there was even a part like in the middle of the firefight, and Shepard was like, who is this talking to me? Oh, who are you? I don't know
like
you.
Thanos in Endgame with the Scarlet Witch, right? Like, you ruined my life. I don't even know who you are.
Yeah. So after you learn about the big reveal about that, then you get some more information. They find out about the Omega 4 relay. The Omega 4 relay is where all the Reapers withdrew to after their last collection cycle 50,000 years ago. We know about the Omega 4 relay. And now you have to get prepared, because like once you go in, you may not come back, and that's pretty much the situation. They go to right before they get ready for the Omega 4 relay. Because was it that information got leaked somehow, and the collectors found them?
I think so.
They're going to get the IFF, and
yes,
they're going to what they think is a derelict ship. Mm-hmm. But they're following like a Turian thing, but then the elusive man knew it was a trap. Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a trap. So while you're going to get the IFF, which stands for Identify Friend or Foe, the collectors actually attack the Normandy, and they actually take damn near all the crew off the ship and everything. Joker survives by luck, because Edie helps him out and things like that, and he's able to outwit them and outmaneuver them and stuff. But basically the crew is fucked.
The best voice acting / line in the entire trilogy is there when Joker goes, oh, I have to deal with the Overlord because Joker, what a tool he was. Remember that?
Yes. and also, they actually did a bang up job because with the voice cast, because like not only did they have like the returning cast from the original game, they had some new people in there. Like Charlie Sheen was the voice of the Elusive Man. Trisha Helfer from Battlestar Galactica, our favorite Cylon, she was the voice of Edie. And it was amazing and stuff like that. Of course, I already said, Arya Talok. That was Carrie Ann Moss. They spent some money on actors on that one.
And they got all that money back in then some with this game alone.
Yeah. So after your Normandy's been attacked and you come back, like basically it's one thing, like like what do we do now? It's like we take the fight to them and stuff like that. They go through the Mega 4 relay, and then they come to find out that like humanity is the next species that the Reapers are not just going to wipe out. They're also going to subjugate, just like they did with the Reapers, and it was all because of how Shepard handled the situation against Sovereign in Mass Effect 1 and stuff like that. So, and that was called the suicide mission because, as I said earlier, like either you can lose all those characters or you can bring everybody back.
You can lose a handful of them. Yeah, I now have the method. I try to pick different people to like lead the different missions on the suicide mission and stuff, but I know the formula for getting everyone to live now. Or at least one formula that does work. So I usually just do that because I want them all to live.
I had to find out what it is because I lost a lot of people the first time I played it.
Well, everyone has to be loyal too.
Yeah, everyone has
everyone loyal.
You have to do all their loyalty missions.
And that means you have to wait. So I always save Tali's loyalty mission for the end, and I always save Miranda's or Jack's.
And Legions. Well, Legions you kind of get late in the game
anyways. Yeah. But
I love Legion's. I love Legion's story mission because it brought back some of the funny dialogue from the original Mass Effect game. Remember how they talk about? Like how they were talking about the ship's cloaking system. So basically anybody looks out a window, they can see us. Like and like stuff like that came back.
Jack don't have windows; they are structural. Whatever. Yeah, I love.
So much. Here's a question though. Like, okay, like based off of those characters, like who did you feel was the most expendable? Like, if you had to lose this character, you didn't mind keeping going.
If I had to lose them,
yeah. If you lost them, you were like, okay, this is not enough for me to reset my save.
I'm sorry, Mallory, but Jack.
Yeah, I agree. Jack and Miranda are probably two of the most expendable to me, just based on what happens in Mass Effect 3. Because, and honestly, Jacob as well. Because all three of those, Jack is just not replaced in 3. Grissom Academy just doesn't have a leader, which I think one of the students does die no matter what you do if you don't have Jack in 3, but that doesn't like directly impact your mission. Miranda is just replaced by her sister in 3 with that part with her father. So that doesn't really, it matters because we like Miranda, but it doesn't necessarily matter. And then Jacob, I think it's just the other doctor doctor that he's working with is there, and he's just not there. But yeah, Morden, Garrus, Thane. Thane is a huge deal if you lose him.
Yeah, for real.
Of what happens. And even though he's not on your team. So I would probably say those three would be my votes for if I have to lose someone.
I would say the most expendable would be Jacob and probably Miranda. Like I like Jack too much to just let her go. It was something about that foul mouth and also that weird sexual tension that she was trying to give you at the same time. As I was like, well, you know where I'm at. I'm at the bottom of the ship. And it's like, oh really? At the bottom of the ship? All right. It's my ship, just so you know. But yeah, I know where to find you now.
Well, I know for me, I just didn't use Jack in a lot of the game. And so everybody else, I love, and Jack was just like, I don't know, what is your purpose? I mean, I understand I got you to get a trophy or achievement, but you really don't serve no purpose on my team.
You're fighting a lot of husks, and you're not on Insanity where the husks have barriers, right? You're any level below that. Jack is great because she has Shockwave. So you can kind of mow down a bunch of husks at once. Other than that, I never really took Jack with me much either, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's understandable because there's no way in hell I was letting Morden die or Garrus die.
Yes.
Actually,
Yes.
Grunt. Actually, in my opinion, Grunt's expendable too.
That's
my
true.
opinion.
Really?
Well, he gets replaced by a different Krogan. I've actually never lost him, but I'm guessing.
Yeah, I've never
mission
lost him either. I did reset my save anytime I heard Samara or Morden or Kasumi died. I did reset my save anytime I heard one of those three die.
You're like, nope, we're done.
And I was like, no,
not doing that.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
So anything else, LeRon?
No, that's pretty much. I pretty much synopsized the game, so we can go ahead and talk about the good stuff if we need to now.
Okay, so
like no Mako, for example.
Yeah, woohoo! But now you
Yes,
have to mine for minerals, which if you're
I'd love that.
See, I liked it a little, but I am very stubborn. Like I want to get 100%.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, would have entire sessions of gameplay where I will sit and I'll play for like my hour or two that I have in the evening.
I would be stuck in orbit just scanning
I'll
shit.
mine the whole time. Yes. And it's like, that's not fun.
Well, for me, I was doing it because like I wanted the fire bullets, like to burn my enemies and stuff. Because I was using that a lot. I think like in this one, I was really using a lot of the powers and special weapons and everything in this one.
Oh, that was you talking about the incendiary rounds. That was that was some cool crap, like shooting Batarians and stuff, and hearing them freak out because they're on fire and stuff. That was I love that part.
Dark.
Yeah, because I like in the first game, like when it came to the guns and the ammo and stuff, it was just like, well, whatever. Like I would just use the basic gun throughout most of the game because it kind of was the most powerful one to me. But it was just like in 2, upgrading everything and buying and going to the stores and like treating it like it's a JRPG, like grinding. I all of that stuff came into Mass Effect. I'm like, you guys know me. You know me with this game.
You heard my soul. Now, like, what class do you guys usually play as when you do Mass Effect? We haven't even talked about that yet.
You know what? Yeah, first game I was a soldier. As a matter of fact, first game I was a soldier, and I think I pretty much you don't change your class once from your first game, if I'm not mistaken.
You can, but
you can respec. You can respec.
You can, but I mean, it automatically will continue you on if you don't change anything. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I did infiltrator for mine.
Okay.
I'm sorry, froze again. I because of the sniper rifles and stuff, I was just like, I love sniping from afar.
Yeah, I like to shoot from afar as well in the game. Yeah. I usually will do I like to be soldier in 2 because if you're soldier, then you have the assault rifle from the beginning, which means when you get to the collector ship, you can get the Revenant, which is bad ass.
Yes. So I did soldier on the trilogy when I did it, but on this replay, I'm doing like infiltrator. Yeah, I think the only class I've never played as is engineer, and I've thought about doing it a few times, and then I look at the powers and I'm like, they just look so awful. I don't want to do that.
They did engineer better in Mass Effect Andromeda than they ever did in the original trilogy. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just like, what do you have? Like the drone can be pretty useful. And what else even is there? You have like, maybe you can put up a pylon. I don't know. They're not. I'm like, maybe I should just like kick it down from, hardcore or insane and kick it down a couple levels and try as engineer, but I just can't.
and I think with Mass Effect 2, it's like the new game plus, like going back with your powers and everything. It just made the experience even funner. Of course, you're struggling the game time because you know what to do, and you're a little bit powerful to run through everything. But it was just like this new game plus works in this. Like it just works for some other reason. Like you want to revisit everything, change your opinions and stuff, and be like, oh, if what happens now is going to carry into 3, then let me grind like they know tomorrow.
That's that's like my one beef with the decision trees in 2 specifically. And I say beef, it's still my favorite of the trilogy. Mass Effect 2 is like, it's a great game, but I hate that you kind of, to get your reputation up, you have to choose a path, whether you're gonna be just a total dick to everyone, or you're going to be Captain America. Like those are your options if you want to get everything. So like, and even if you go renegade, I don't believe that there is a way to get your reputation up high enough to have every single person on your team loyal. The only way I've ever accomplished that was going Paragon, getting my reputation skill points up right from the beginning, and then doing every single thing. And then I was able to get everyone loyal. But I think you have to be Paragon to get those. And that's a bit annoying. Not that I, want to be a jerk to everyone, but like, when you're talking to the Krogan and you have to be, Mr. Goody Two Shoes, like that's not
It's not
Right?
fun.
that's not fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grunt felt like a son to me. He was just
He
like,
did.
he was just like, oh, my brain is hurting. I can't get this. What am I? And it's just like,
Oh, it's Krogan puberty.
exactly. And the name Shepherd fits because you're leading and you're raising and you're managing and stuff. And like with Grunt, it's just like you're shepherding Grunt to be a better person, to understand what is going on, why to fight, why to have ethics and morals and feel the way that you do. You can still kill, you still gonna help me on these missions, but like I'm sunning you in a sense, in a good way. And Jacob is Jacob. Miranda is like she's the one that she knows how to run things and stuff. She's the woman president. She know how to get stuff done, and so she's going to do what she needs to do. And it's so cool because the side mission where Jacob got the thing about his dad. And you find out that it was Miranda who set it up and everything.
Mhm.
And the Lucifer was just like, Miranda, we'll talk about this in quarters.
Right?
I was just like, Miranda don't do
someone's
not
in
care.
trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like Miranda. I honestly like Miranda. Reminds me a little bit of like a mean girl from school in some regards. So
Yes.
I kind of don't love her. And so when I first played through the game, I never brought her with me, and like I just was like, go away. And then I started bringing her, and now I do. I call it my badass girl squad because I'm always femme shop, and so I'll bring Miranda and Kasumi, and we're like the badass girl squad.
Yeah, yes. What about you, LeRon? What do you think about some of the side missions or teams that you brought along in the game?
Well, let's see. As far as the side missions go, honestly, I feel like this Samara's mission was the Ardyat Yakshi. That mission, in my opinion, if that mission doesn't move you as a human being, like something is wrong with you, because this talks about like the things you. It was kind of like Liara's story in reverse, because Liara ultimately had to wind up in the mission where she had to kill her mother because her mother had basically gone criminally insane and stuff like that. So we wound up getting the opposite end of the spectrum with Samara, where she has her children, and she's already said because of her faith and because of her job, she can no longer have children, and both of her children, basically have become Ardyat Yakshi, which it's kind of weird to describe, but basically they will poison and infect the rest of the Asari species if left unchecked. Basically, the crazy part is, though, they're also like the most powerful biotics in the known galaxy and stuff like that. And it's because of their powers that they are imbalanced and stuff like that. So that was definitely one. Legion's mission, of course, like Legion's mission was just fun. His loyalty mission was so fun. Tali's mission, where basically with Tali's mission, where you basically had to go and help her defend her family's name, because a situation happens. Her dad basically is out collecting, because they've been trying to study and figure out a way to defeat the Geth and retake their home world. Her dad's doing some stuff that basically, like the rest of Quarren society is like, no, bro, you can't be doing that.
Right.
And he brings back a piece of machinery that it almost mirrored freaking Battlestar Galactica, because he brought back a piece of machinery that basically networked itself into the fleet, and it caused a situation on another ship. And that was a good one. But that was a cool one because it finally gave Tali the reason to she had a lot of distrust for Shepard, and it only got worse after Legion showed up. she had a lot of distrust for because of Edie and because of Legion and stuff like that. But also, like, Shepard was technically a ghost as far as she was concerned because he was dead, and she'd already like reconciled that he was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was it. But honestly, the ones that really stood out the most for me were the DLC missions.
Yeah, Kasumi's is very cool. Kasumi's loyalty mission.
Yeah, and yeah, that was another one that basically like it was a bunch of heart, you know.
Like you're like a heist basically, Ed, since you haven't played it.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
I love heist stories. I love them. And
yeah,
that was great.
You mentioned Arrive.
Before I talk about Arrival though, we gotta talk about Lair of the Shadow Broker.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Did you play that one, Ed?
No.
Okay. Lair of the Shadow Broker. You get you get reunited with Liara. And Liara has been doing her own investigation and trying to figure things out. She's trying to get more information, of course, about the Reapers. But
the Shadowbroker was from the first game.
The Shadowbroker was mentioned in the first game. The Shadowbroker was mentioned in the first game. That was where Barlavon, the Volus, the little Volus guy, he works for them. He worked for them in the financial district, and he was an agent of the Shadowbroker and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so we started learning about the Shadowbroker in that game. But Liara was trying to do some research. Was trying to get more information about the Reapers to figure things out to help in the upcoming war because she knew something was going to happen. And come to find out that the Shadowbroker seemingly had a lot of information and was sitting on just massive amounts of information that could help her figure things out and stuff like that. So later, the Shadowbroker, Shepard, her and Shepard team up for this. It's a whole. I want to say later Shadowbroker is like a 5-hour DLC mission.
It's a longer one.
It's long.
It's longer.
And basically what happens is that you infiltrate a ship. And you're just trying to steal information from the Shadowbroker, but you come to blows with the actual Shadowbroker himself, and in a crazy twist of fate, Liara becomes the new Shadowbroker. So Liara basically gets what she's always wanted. She's wanted nothing but vast amounts of information. She wants to learn about the galaxy and how things work, and so that mission was crazy. When you get there at the end of it, you actually defeat the Shadowbroker, and come to find out the Shadowbroker is a member of is a renegade from a long dead species of aliens.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I can't remember how they said he came about because I haven't played it recently, but I can't remember how he came. Yeah, but basically they're like, hey, why are you doing this? You know, you're the last of your kind. And he's like, I'm doing it because I am the last of my kind. It was one of those type situations. And so when they put him down, they find out he's a Shadowbroker. Everyone's and all his agents are out there. And basically it's information breaking or information brokering. And at the end of it, everyone's trying to get instructions from the Shadowbroker. And because nobody knows who the Shadowbroker is, Liara takes up the mantle of the Shadowbroker.
Oh wow!
Which in 3, even if you don't do that mission, in 2, she mentions casually, "Oh hey, I'm a Shadowbroker now."
Yep.
Wow.
So it's kind of nice little, bridge the gap there. Where it's wait, what?
Yep. Yep.
I want to play this DLC so bad.
And then there was Overlord. Overlord is another good one. Because Overlord basically is I'm trying to remember for sure. Overlord.
Is that the one with the doctor that is that a DLC 3?
Wait. It was DLC. It was 2. Project Overlord. Okay. It was experimentation with virtual intelligence and stuff like that. But come to find out that they were hooking up kids who weren't biotics, but kids who had a different neural pathway and stuff. Mm-hmm. And basically it was a new way of trying to create artificial intelligence without actually having artificial intelligence, stuff like that. But now that I've mentioned those, and then we have to talk about the Omega DLC.
The Omega DLC in 2?
Wait, was it 2? No. Yeah, I'm right. I'm getting my games confused.
I say the Omega DLC in 3, as in my notes, I wrote down the names of my favorite missions, and that's in there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. It was Project Overlord. the arrival, and of course the 2 missions for Kasumi and Zaid.
Okay,
Okay, so now we can
go
talk about
go
arrival.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so basically after the end of the suicide mission, and after you basically find out that the Reapers are officially coming now, Admiral Hackett sends you some information, and he needs you to go on a rescue mission. You need to go rescue a doctor who's been abducted by the Batarians, and the Batarians, that's a race of species that don't follow the same rules of that the Citadel species do, stuff like that. So you wind up going on this rescue mission, and and it's a one-man mission because the alliance doesn't want culpability at all about the mission and stuff like that. So it's a one-man mission, basically, just like Mission Impossible. They will disavow you if you if you were killed or captured and stuff like that. So you get there, you rescue the doctor, and you come to find out that that this whole thing is a staging ground. This whole thing is a staging ground because people were trying to be nosy, and we're trying to get a look at the Reapers before the invasion got started.
Mm-hmm.
And so Shepard once again has one more conversation with Harbinger, and Harbinger's like, "Get ready because we're coming."
That's there's just so much to Mass Effect 2. Like I said, it's a lot in this game to explore. But we're going to jump into Mass Effect 3, which was released on March 6, 2012. This is the conclusion of the trilogy. The stories in 2186, 6 months after the events of Mass Effect 2, the galactic community lives in fear of an invasion by Reapers, a highly advanced machine race of synthetic organic starships that are believed to eradicate all organic civilization every 50,000 years. Meanwhile, the Krogan face extinction because of the genophage, a genetic mutation developed by the Solarians and deployed by the Turians as a bioweapon to contain the Krogan. The Quarians prepare to retake their homeworld from the Geth, and the human supremacist terrorist organization Cerebus, Cerberus?
Cerberus, yeah.
Cerebus, wow. Cerberus is regrouping after a temporary alliance with Commander Shepard to defeat the Collectors, indoctrinated and genetically modified remnants of the Protean race who were abducting human colonies. Shepard has been relieved of duty and is confined on Earth, awaiting court-martial by the Systems Alliance. The characters in the game, of course, is Shepard, and you also get Ashley or Kaden, depending on your choices that you make. James Vega, Liara Sony, Garrus Vakarian, Edie, Joker, Talia Zora, Javik, and he is optional in the Wii U version of Mass Effect 3.
Wait, optional? How is he optional?
Well, he's a DLC in the version
Yeah.
I have, isn't he?
Yeah,
so maybe he
he's
just comes with in the Wii U.
Oh, I'm so mad.
Right?
Well, Wikipedia said he's optional in the Wii U version, so that was the thing. Yeah.
Interesting.
The only person that played it, the Wii U version, is Corey. I wish he was here.
Wait, he played Mass Effect on the Wii U?
Yeah, he played Mass Effect 3 on the Wii U.
A trooper.
I mean, I think he played it on 360. He beat it on 360.
Okay.
Yeah, but he played it on the Wii U though.
Because I played it on the Wii U too. Also, so you
don't remember Javik at all?
I didn't finish the game. I only bought a little bit of it, and then I put it down. I was just like, it's Mass Effect on
on Wii U, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to show Nintendo, EA, be like, yeah, give us 3, but we was trying to get 1 or 2 on the Wii U. We were trying to get the trilogy on, and EA didn't believe in Nintendo at that. Still, didn't believe in Nintendo, so we never got the first 2 games.
Well, are you ready to kick yourself? Because Javik, you get at the very beginning of the game.
Yeah, he's like your second team. Well, you start out with Ashley or Kaden. Well, you lose them pretty quick, but your first mission you have Ashley, Kaden, and James, and then you get Liara during that first mission, and then right after that, when you lose Ashley or Kaden temporarily, right there. Or permanently if you screw up and don't go talk to them in the hospital.
Well, here's the thing about it. Before we start talking about the story, the reason why I'm enraged about like how like you could like it seems like you can already have Javik if you have the Wii U version is because when I did the research and found out that Javik is the last surviving Prothean from 50,000 years ago, I immediately stopped my first playthrough of Mass Effect 3, and I think I was only like 10 hours in. I immediately stopped my playthrough, went and spent $7, bought the DLC, and started my game over.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But see, like, you'd think, I don't know. Javik is cool, and we can talk more about him later, I'm sure. But like, it seems like having a living Prothean should break the game, right? Like, there's a lot of mysteries about the Prothean that you could just turn and be like, "Hey, buddy, you were there. What's up?" And
it was,
and like, "Oh, I was just a soldier. I didn't know anything." And it's like, realistic.
It was like that was the ultimate MacGuffin for that whole thing.
Yeah,
he was
you
like,
would know something.
He was like, "You're asking me like I'm a specialist."
Right? Like, I'm sorry, we were asking, I don't know, whatever, something very basic. Yeah. Yeah, I that's my one beef with Java, because it's like, this should break the plot right now.
And then
and like, he's on the Citadel, and like a couple people come talk to him, and that's like it. Like, no. This would be like if, I can't even think of an example. A dinosaur just showed up. Right? There would be a couple people walking and be like, "Oh, hey, look, it's a velociraptor." Like, it would be pandemonium.
I kind of want to have a picture of Javik and then some woman or somebody side-eyeing this, be like, "This is not right. This does not make no sense at all."
No. He had very opinionated things to say about every member of the council species. He was like, he remembered when the Turians were like, what he say, flying in the sky or something.
Yeah. Well, my favorite is when like he's having an argument with Morden, and then like Morden gets a good point in, and then he's like, "You used to eat flies." That's all he says.
And poor Liara, he was basically a god to her.
Yeah, she's like fangirling, and he's like, not into it.
Wow.
All right. So let's go ahead and let's break down the game. Did you mention the characters yet?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, yeah. Javik in the optional Wii U version. I'm already upset. Okay, so basically, Mass Effect 3 starts off, and the Reapers are coming. They're starting to make massive incursions throughout the entire galaxy and stuff like that. Because of the attacks and everything, because the outlying planets have already gotten hit, like Batarian homeworld gone. There was another homeworld they lost track of and stuff like that. But yeah, the Reapers are coming. Everybody's scrambling, including the Earth Alliance headquarters. Shepard has been basically, I'm going to say in jail, but technically he's just been on house arrest for 6 months following the whole situation with the collectors. And now all of a sudden they want Shepard because they need to find out what's going on. And Shepard's like, "I've been trying to tell you guys."
Right. Just a summary of all Mass Effect. The leading people are like, "Oh no, Shepard's been telling the truth this whole time," and Shepard's like, "I know."
Mm-hmm. Yep, I know.
Game. That's it.
Yeah. So, but the Reapers make a direct line to Earth. Earth is one of the first planets they get attacked, and while all this is going on, Admiral Anderson, who's no longer a member of the council, basically gives Shepard new orders. He's like, "Take the Normandy. There's something going on that was brought to our attention on Mars before this attack happened. You need to go there immediately and find out what's going on." And that's where Shepard meets up with Liara, who is holding down like the last research facility because Cerberus is there too, trying to get whatever information has come up about it and stuff like that. So basically, the mission starts. You get reunited with some of your characters and stuff like that. And basically, like it's like no muss, no fuss. Like, this is the game.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's pretty much
throw right in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much the breakdown of the game. Cerberus is being nefarious. They're out there doing things is because the elusive man, based on the information that we got from the collector ship, which, by the way, you could either destroy it or you could turn it over to Cerberus. It doesn't matter what decision you make because ultimately the elusive man still gets technology off the collector ship, and now the elusive man has without his knowledge has started to become indoctrinated from the Reapers because the collector technology is Reaper technology, and the Reapers find any way they can to subjugate upcoming species
Yep.
before the cycle happens and stuff like that. So we come to find out that the elusive man has actually been helping humanity get ready for the harvest.
Yeah. Oh, I love the elusive. Like, I don't love the elusive man, obviously. Like, he's a bad guy, but like, he's just such a great character because any
Mhm.
interaction you have with him, like, you can tell that he knows on some level, way
Mhm.
back in there, that he has lost control.
Yes.
And as he realizes it more and more, he is more and more enraged. He becomes more and more unstable and more or less and less willing to admit that fact
Mhm.
until obviously at the very end, if
At
you
the
have
very
enough
end.
reputation, then
Yeah.
you can have him realize it.
Yeah.
Just such a fascinating character, such a great arc for that villain. I love it.
Yeah, like Shepard winds up being tasked with like getting the rest of the galaxy ready for the attack. They don't know if they can actually stop the Reapers at this point, but they know based on everything they've learned, based on information that Liara has been able to collect. If you have Javik, there's also a small boost in that they're starting to be able to figure out that they may be able to have a counteroffensive. They learned about something called the Crucible,
Yep.
which they don't know whether it's a weapon or whether it's the key to stopping the whole cycle or whatnot. Yeah, you finally get to see the Turian homeworld of Palaven. There's a rescue mission where like there's the Primarch is there, which is basically a leader of the Turian species, but he also, based on the rescue attempts, that also helps the Turians, join the fight with the rest of the Alliance to get things ready.
And it reunites you with Garrus, which is the
Yeah,
most important part
for
about going to the moon of Palaven. Yeah.
Oh yes, oh yes, because
Yes.
Garrus Vakarian is the man.
The best. We love Garrus.
You finally get to land on the Krogan homeworld, where you either have a reunion with Rex, or you might wind up meeting Reeve. And you also learn that somebody has finally come up with a way to fix the genophage. I wonder who that could be.
Dun, dun, dun. Such a mystery.
It's act-
They're on Surkesh. Who could it be?
Sarkesh and Tuchanka, yes. And you wind up in the Perseus Vale for the first time to get to the Quarian, not where the Quarian home world just yet, but you wind up getting into Quarian territory, which is a first for the game, because something's going on with the Geth now. The Geth are, I guess the easiest way to say it is they're about to have another new like mass networking thing that may actually propel them to actually not just becoming a threat to just the Quarians, but it looks like they may get their way because of the Reaper Surge and become a new sentient species in the galaxy that will be left behind after the new cycle. And that's the major parts of. Oh yeah, you wind up on the Asari homeworld too, which is cool.
Yeah, yeah, you have that battle up to the what is it, a temple of some sort,
Yes.
Yes.
to get
Yeah.
to the beacon. No, it's not the beacon. It's where you talk to that like digital Prothean.
Yeah,
though.
it's a pro. Yeah, because that's it. Yeah, and then you come to find out the Asari were being bastards.
Yeah,
Or
those
actually,
sneaky information hoarders.
they're women, so I guess it'd be bitches.
Could
Wow.
be either. Could be either.
Yeah. So the Asari, the reason why the Asari are considered the most advanced species is because they have been hoarding Prothean technology. They've had beacons all over their planet and stuff, and that's how they've been using. That's what they've been using to keep themselves slightly more advanced than the rest of the galaxy. It's cool. It's cool in practice, but like, come on now. Like,
Right.
y'all already lived to be like over 1,000 years
I
old.
was gonna say you have advantages already. Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
share the wealth
Hey,
with the Solarians who
hey,
live to
y'all-
be like 40. Come on.
Yeah. Ultimately, it all comes back down to the final conflict winds up on Earth. Because that's where the main big bad Reaper Harbinger is setting down ground. He's already put out the feelers that, hey, I'm here, come for me, Shepard, and stuff like that.
Again. He did the like from a fight thing.
Yep. It's
Come
like,
at me, bro.
it's like, what you got?
Yeah, exactly.
And ultimately, it winds up leading Shepard and his crew to make one final decision on how to end this entire conflict, and it's one decision that, as gamers, like, we still have mixed feelings about.
Yes, so
Yep.
this ending caused a big controversy where BioWare had to do an update for some more scenes. I
Really more
believe.
cut scenes mostly. Yeah,
Yes.
which explained away a little bit of it. I recently, well, you know, Ed, I recently did a blog post defending this ending,
Hmm.
uh, which again, when I first played through this game, I was furious. I was so angry when I finished it. And then like even when they were talking, because when I finished Mass Effect 3 for the first time was when Whispers of Andromeda were first coming out, and I
Uh-huh.
was like, I'm not even interested because it's not going to be Shepard. I don't care because like no matter what you can
Oh,
do, like
oh,
Shepard
oh.
dies. Like, and obviously then I like reversed that like 6 months later, and now I'm obsessed with Mass Effect. But I was angry. I was so mad when I finished playing it. And then now, like looking back, it's like, there's no way that they could have ended it with Shepard living. Like it wouldn't have seemed realistic with
And,
all that Shepard went through. I don't think personally. Uh,
and I feel like it was a great way to wrap up this story in the
yeah,
sense, and because I didn't know what the controversy was at because I didn't finish Mass Effect 3 on PS3. I finished it when the trilogy came out on PS3. So um
yeah, it had the
with
cutscenes. Yeah,
yeah, so the
so did
update
I when
was
I played it.
yeah, the update was already there. So I had did it and I watched it and I was just like, this is a great way to end this game. It was the who was the director who made that one movie where they everybody on the planet needed help, like health and stuff, and so all the rich people were living on another planet. um it was from the director who did that. They recorded it in Africa and I cannot think of it. But it was a really good movie. He did I think he did a sequel to it or something like that. But
Are you talking about
uh,
the Neil Blomkamp movie,
I think that is, yeah.
Elysium?
Elysium. Is that
Oh,
when the guy he
It was with
at the
Matt
end,
Damon, right?
yeah, he
Hmm.
ended up sacrificing himself so the whole world could get health back.
Yes.
Yeah, Elysium. I love that movie. It's been a while since I seen it, but I love it, and I kind of felt like that. It felt like Shepard sacrificed his life to make sure that the planet lived and the universe continued on. And
yeah,
it was such a great narrative way of doing it that you already went through 3 games making a sacrifice to better humanity and fix this war and everything. And so making this ultimate sacrifice is a great way on doing it's sad that yeah, Shepard couldn't live, but the sacrifice helped the whole universe stay alive.
yup, yeah. And I'm on your side now. I think what it was too is that when I played Mass Effect 3 for the first time, now I'm like really strategic about whether I go Paragon or Renegade or what decisions I make and like all these different things. When I played it through for the first time, I literally just like made Shepard say what I wanted to say. And like I felt so connected with the character that it was like genuinely like affected me that the character died. Like, you know what I mean?
Hang on a minute though. Am I crazy though? Because the ending I had, like right at the very very end, you see in the debris of the Citadel, like Shepard's body, he takes a breath.
Oh yeah, in the so that you can get that only if you choose synthesis or integration, whatever the green option is.
I didn't choose synthesis. I chose the red
Oh
option.
really?
I chose the red
Oh
option.
okay. Well, I thought it was because I was under the impression that it was only if you choose like where synthetics and
I
organics become one.
my ultimate choice, like I chose the red option because I was like, you know what, the Reaper stopped now.
Okay, this
that was my
ends.
this is how, I understand, like it cuts off technology for the rest of the universe. We would basically have to start over because the cycle began because of experiments in artificial intelligence. That's we learned about that. We learned about that in the DLC, the Dreadnought DLC.
Hmm.
Yeah,
We learned about that in the Dreadnought DLC. This is the reason why. This is the reason why why like the cycle started, because a more advanced race than even the Protheans at that point, created a artificially intelligent, like society, and they got smarter than they should have gotten, and they started the whole cycle because apparently organics, as a whole, like we screw things up. So
we tend to do that.
yeah, but
It was three choices, right? It was like a blue, green, and
Yeah.
red, right?
So you can control the Reapers, which is blue, which I never pick because it's siding with the elusive man. So I just have never picked it.
Yes.
Red, which is destroy the Reapers, which I also never pick because I always encourage the romance between Joker and Edie, and I just can't do that to my man Joker.
That was
I
a
can't
hard
do that. I can't.
That was
I
a
can't
hard
pick
decision.
Edie's girlfriend, and so I almost always pick green, which is to
I
integrate,
thought
which I don't think was an option in the original. I think that was part of the additional package. I don't know for sure though.
Yeah, disclaimer. I never played the Mass Effect trilogy until the Mass Effect trilogy box set came out. So there are certain things about me, like with the ending, like I didn't see a problem with the three choices. In my opinion, I didn't see a problem with it because as I was playing the game, like I was like, well, even before I was playing the game, when I played the very first game back when my friend loaned his Xbox for a little while, I was like, there's no way, like what you're saying is going to actually come to be when the final game comes out. I'm like, do you know how big their whiteboard and their spread charts would have to be to keep track of every single decision that they said is a possibility in this game? I was like, there's no way we're going to get this perfect ending.
Has to come back to center.
Yeah, and I was like, and also, there's like no specific way that this game is going to follow your exact path. Like ultimately, like there's a whole bunch of things you could do, but ultimately, it all came down to one resolution. And that's just me being realistic because I'm a writer. I do stuff like this. I mean, I haven't written a project in a long time, like a fiction project, but this is kind of my wheelhouse. And I tried to tell people, I was like, there's no way you're going to get what you want on this.
Yeah,
and
you have to build everything towards one ending.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the rest of the story falls apart. And it's kind of poetic in like a, I don't know, almost like a nihilistic sort of way where it's like, even in real life, all your decisions matter until they don't, right?
Until they don't.
Until they don't. And that's true in real life as well. So I'm over my brief anger at the ending now. I accept it. I accept the ending now.
Yeah, but I picked the red ending. Because when I started the Mass Effect trilogy, because I bought it on day one when that box set came out, and I put in the chat that it was like November 6th, 2012. So right around that date is when I started playing the games seriously and stuff like that. And from playing Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2 to Mass Effect 3, there was one thing that was eminently clear. The Reapers were the threat to the galaxy. Right. So that was my solitary mission. Ultimately, if I was Commander Shepard, that was what I wanted to do. I need to stop the Reapers.
That's the end game. Yeah. That makes sense. Sense.
And yes, I do understand it was a big sacrifice, because I loved Edie. I did. And man, when she got her new body, oh my God.
Oh yes.
You and Joker were of the same mind there.
Well, no, because I already knew who I was after by that point.
I will say I chose the blue when I first played it.
Uh-huh.
I actually chose the
Reapers.
You
chose to control the Reapers?
What was your reasoning?
My reasoning was because everything I was doing was in blue. I wanted to keep that colored thing, so I went blue at the end.
You were sitting here going Paragon and Renegade. I get it now.
I like it. Yeah, well, and that does make sense because that's the color coding they use throughout.
So wait a minute. So you're telling me that I was a renegade because I decided to wipe out an entire racist.
I'm gonna say yes.
Now I think about it. Damn, I wiped out quite a few civilizations making that decision. I wiped out the Geth. I wiped out the Reapers.
Yeah.
And I went back because I did a second save to it. I had went back and chose the red after. But it was just like I made all these decisions to get, to be blue, to stay in blue. So I'm I've already did 3 games I'm up to this point doing all of this stuff blue. I might as well just go with that color. I went in and I did.
How very Paragon of you. I am not holding that against you.
I like it. Well, speaking of decisions, shall I tell you guys how to save Morden Solus?
Please do because I had to take a break from the game after that mission.
So sad. So for any listeners who haven't played this or maybe haven't played it in a while, it's the mission on Tuchanka with the giant thresher maw, and you're going to try to disseminate the genophage cure. And when you get to the shroud, there's like a whole thing. You can choose to betray everyone and go with the Solarian Dolatross, but we don't because she sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But so when you get to the ending part, you find out that someone needs to go all the way up to the top of the tower to disseminate this cure, and things are exploding. There's a Reaper there's a Thresher Maw, like there's a lot happening, and Morden, of course, decides he has to go up to the top because had to be me. Someone else might have gotten it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And he dies.
I love that line. I love that
I
line.
do too. But if you've befriended Morden and like you've talked to him the whole time, the ending becomes even more sad because then like as the explosions are coming,
he sings a
that
song.
song. I die. So, anyways, I was like, I'm gonna figure out how to save Morden because there has to be a way, and there is. But I've done it once, and I will never do it again because you basically have to you have to make terrible decisions. So in Mass Effect 1, you have to kill Rex.
Already a bad decision.
That's number 1. Yep, exactly.
I'm fine with
then
it.
Then Mass Effect 2. Ed's like, I'm still on board. Mass Effect 2, you have to destroy Malin's data in Morden's loyalty mission.
What?
So don't save the data that Malin got. So that's also what you have to do in Mass Effect 2. And then in Mass Effect 3, you have to let Eve die. So,
hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no.
So, but basically then when you're talking to Morden before he goes up the elevator, what you're doing is convincing him to betray the Krogan and tell them that they disseminated the cure when they didn't. And the way you convince him is by saying like, Morden, now's not the time for the Krogan. Like, look at their leader. It's Reeve. He's this horrible, violent creature. Eve's not there to temper him anymore. If we let the Krogan, procreate without, unchecked at this point, like they're going to overrun the galaxy, blah, blah, blah. And Morden agrees with you and comes back with you to the Normandy. So you can save him, but basically you have to screw over the Krogans for generations and make terrible decisions. So again, I did it once just to do it. And I never will again. I can't do it.
Yeah,
so,
that's
the price is high.
Well, you know what? That's the one thing I commend BioWare on. They give you as much free reign as you can possibly have. To think that they had all these algorithms and all these choices programmed into the game series like that, that's amazing. And I don't think a lot of gamers give BioWare and then the Mass Effect team that type of credit. They get pissed off because of the ultimate ending, but they don't see all the work and all the blood, sweat, and tears that went on behind it. And it's almost like a misservice. If you a disservice. I'm sorry.
If you was a kid back in the kind of the 80s and 90s, you had those choose your adventure books.
Yes.
Where you used to go to different pages to read it. And if you're not used to that, you wouldn't understand why choices and stuff in the game was being made. I let Morden die because and I wasn't affected. It was sad. It was sad. And the only reason why I really wasn't affected because I wasn't using him in a lot of
if you don't talk to him a lot, because when I first did the game playthrough, I never went and talked to Morden. I found him vaguely annoying. I never took him with me, and then I played it through again, and I was like, I'm gonna actually go talk to all my crewmates this time, and I started talking to Morden, and I was like, oh my god, I love this character.
Okay, for the record, Ed, and I love you. You're an asshole. You're just letting all these people die because you didn't have an interaction with them. That's literally like saying I don't like you because I don't know you.
Get out of here.
All right, boys and girls, do not be like Ed. Go out there, learn about people, learn about their experiences, and be nice.
Hold on. LeRon, say that again because you froze on my side, so I didn't get to hear it all.
Okay. No, I was like, okay, boys and girls, go out there, meet people, talk to them, learn from their experiences, and be nice.
Okay. Well, okay. And I'm gonna.
I said that with absolute love. It's all in jest because I get it. As gamers, we do what we do. I can't tell anyone how. Just like I can't tell you how to live your life, I cannot tell you how to play your video games. That's and that's the cool thing about it when really cool people like three of us get together and talk about the games we played. It's really cool.
And the thing about it is, I only did this for my first time. I haven't gone back and make second choices and stuff. So yeah, I am an a-hole for letting
Mallory. I feel like we've swayed him so hard now.
I don't know if you must do these things. Yeah, but at my first playthrough, I didn't talk to enough people. You know what I mean? Because you're just playing through the game, and I was so anxious to get to more story. I wasn't doing
Yeah.
all the side missions. I wasn't trying to do,
I-
you know, all the achievables. I was just trying to get through the story. So I totally feel you.
I have a roommate. I infuriate him because he's like, "You didn't beat this game yet." I'm like, "No, I'm playing the game." And he's like, "Are you playing the game or are you playing through 50 hours of side missions?" And I was like, I'm playing the side missions."
Like, what's the difference? The side missions are in the game.
Right.
Exactly.
Come on.
It's like,
How am I
it's,
supposed to beat the ending if I don't have the most advanced armor on my ship? All right.
it's like, dude, I only spent $60 on this game. I'm gonna get my $60 worth out of it.
Right.
I like to get $1 an hour of gameplay at least.
Exactly. But yes, anything else about Mass Effect 3? I think we kind of covered it all. Because I know.
No, we haven't, because we haven't talked about the Omega or the Citadel DLC.
Oh,
Oh my
okay.
gosh,
LeRon,
yeah.
go.
Which, Mallory, do you want to talk about one? I talk about another one.
Yeah, sure. I'll take the Citadel one.
All right.
That one's fresh in my memory. So the Citadel DLC, which like it's been a little while since I played it, so jump in if I miss anything.
Okay.
You basically it starts that Admiral Anderson like gives you his like apartment on the Citadel, and it's like this swanky pad. It's nice. It's fancy, and so like part of the DLC, which I think no, the combat part comes first, correct? Before the
some of the combat.
Okay.
Like, it starts with some combat, then it has some R&R, and then it ends with combat.
Yeah. So like the combat basically to give a summary is there is a clone of Commander Shepard running rampant over the Citadel, and like you start out at like
Cerberus.
yeah, right. Yeah, thanks, elusive man. You start out at like this sushi restaurant, and like you get jumped, and there's like this person that like seriously, that's what happens. And like you have this like alliance person that's like along with you, and she's like this kind of like nervous Nelly kind of character, right? That's like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. And you know, you go through and you have to defeat your clone basically because they're trying to be like, you know, it's the I'm the real Shepherd. No, I'm the real Shepherd, right? Like it's that kind of like stereotype of having a clone. The other part of the DLC is like it's in the middle and it's to hang out at the Citadel at Admiral Anderson's swanky apartment, and it's a party, and your whole crew is there, and they get hammered, and you can talk to all of them, and it's very funny. And that's that piece.
You know what?
But then you go back to the combat to fighting your clone after that piece.
You know what? Just seeing Garrus dancing.
Yes.
Oh my God! Seeing Garrus dancing. Oh, and barging in on him and Tally making out.
Yes. See, that I've only seen once because I usually romance Garrus, so then that doesn't happen if you're romancing Garrus. Thankfully, if it would, goodbye.
And Kasumi was getting Grunt drunk off his ass in that game.
Grunt is just like sitting on the shower floor, and you talk to him, and he's just like, yeah, it's very funny. That was one of my favorite parts of the DLC. I honestly forget about the combat part a lot because I'm just so interested in the
I will say this. Oh no, before you say LeRon, I am about to watch this video of Garrus dancing. This is all new to me. But go ahead, LeRon.
Also seeing Jack like getting Caden to loosen up and doing biotic little like mini games with her and stuff.
It's great. It's so funny.
They're like, hey, you're cheating. No, you're not. You're cheating.
It's almost like the bottle episode of a TV show, right? Where you have pairings that you don't usually have talking to one another, and like you see crewmates, you know, having interactions. If you have Ashley, then she and James get it on.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, it's funny. It's entertaining. So.
Which is weird too, because I was like, man, I don't know. I kind of got like a gay vibe off of James. So my
headcanon is that him and Steve Cortez are
because they knew each other way too well to be just friends.
Well, and they're like kind of ribbing on each other, but it's like, you know, it's kind of flirty. Yeah. And you can't romance James as femshep, which I consider criminal because
true, yeah.
James as femshep.
Because I love the one interaction with James when he was like, you know, the only reason why I work out down here is because I know you watch me.
Yeah, and then you can say like two things, and one of them is like, I'm enjoying the view. That's what I always say.
All right, and then the other big DLC piece was Omega, where basically Omega becomes like an actual staging ground against like Omega is having a nice foothold against the Reaper invasion, but Cerberus is also meddling with things and they're trying to take over Omega at the same time. So you wind up basically getting onto a mission where Arya begrudgingly asks you for help. In her Arya to look kind of way and stuff, and it's really cool. It's a really cool bit of DLC. You wind up fighting General Olev Petrovsky, which the name alone like should bring back Metal Gear Solid like relapses and stuff like that against you. But he's an ex-alliance soldier who got jaded with the way the alliance and the council were looking at the Reaper invasion. So he joined Cerberus, and he's one of the last ones that did not get indoctrinated because the elusive man was going nuts and stuff like that. But he had his own agenda. He was like, hey, all we have to do is just wait this whole thing out with the Reapers, and they will go away and leave us alone. And that's the hill he was trying to die on, stuff like that. But of course, like as Arya always says, you don't fuck with Omega.
Yes. When you get to team up with her, so like Arya's on your team.
Yeah,
so cool. And then Nyreen, which is the first female Turian that we encounter.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Is your other
Yes.
teammate. Yeah, she's one of my favorite characters, even though you only get her for that one mission.
And the name Nyreen Kandros, I feel like she's related to somebody that we'd already seen in Mass Effect, though. Like that name.
Maybe.
But they don't really flesh it out, as far as I can tell.
Not that I've seen, at least. I've only played that DLC once, though, because it's a long one. I've
only played Omega once, but I played the Citadel twice, because the Citadel is probably the best money you can spend on that DLC. In my opinion,
I agree.
The shenanigans against your clone is funny, and it's crazy hearing your version of Shepard like talking like a diabolical madman.
Yeah, like being evil. Oh my god, it's so good.
It's like, and actually, wait, wasn't there a line from your Shepard? It was like, is this what I sound like when I go renegade?
Yeah, or something like that. And then who is it that's on your squad that's like basically like, yeah, you sound like
it depends because I think it's Garrus if you have him. It's Garrus. It's the ones who've been with you longer. So it's Garrus. Garrus will say it. Caden will say it, or Miranda will say it.
Okay.
I
can see that.
Because that's also when you can get those old characters back as playable characters, just for that particular
mission.
Yeah,
I just seen Garrus through the tango, and
he stole Shepard's dance moves, but he looks so much better doing it.
It's hard to look worse.
Yes, wow.
I love Garrus so much. I love him.
Yes. So everybody, that is Mass Effect 3. That is the Mass Effect trilogy. We're not gonna talk that much about Mass Effect Andromeda due to Mallory and LeRon. They haven't finished the game. Mm-hmm. I have, but I think we should revisit Mass Effect Andromeda. We could probably do it as a book club for next year, and because a lot of us on Boss Rush haven't finished the game, and I kind of would like to come back and talk about Mass Effect Andromeda.
I have my reasons for not finishing it. I'm pretty sure my reasons are probably different from a lot of other people's reasons, but my main reason was that I was playing from launch, and like the game was starting to get it was starting to be really disrupted by the patches and the cycles that they were going through to fix it. Like a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people. My roommate was one of them. Corey's another one. They said the game was freaking phenomenal because they played it after all the patches, and it was actually a fun game, and it got a hard knock because of its development cycle.
I thought that the gameplay just changed too much for me. I'd like to give it another shot, coming in with lower expectations, but coming in expecting it to just be another Mass Effect game, and then the entire like way your squad works is different. It seems like they're almost just trying to turn it into a straight shooter from what I saw. I didn't get that far, honestly. But I sold the game. I traded it into GameStop, so I don't even have it anymore. But I'll repurchase it. So I'll give it another try.
it's about $2, $6 somewhere.
Are you for real?
Yeah, drop it.
Is it that low?
It's that low.
I saw it for $10 at Meijer, and I almost bought it, But it was like, and the reason why I didn't is the dumbest thing. It was like on a lock thing, and I couldn't find a staff member, so I was like, I'll go go home. That's literally the only reason why I didn't get it.
Okay,
I would have.
I know what you mean. I was trying to buy a game from Meyer up here in Wisconsin, and I had to search half of the whole store to get it, and the associate didn't know how to.
That's like literally, I was like, it would have been just an impulse buy because I was just there grocery shopping and happened to walk through the tech section. You know what I mean? It was like, I'm getting oranges and Mass Effect. So I just gave up at that point, but I will pick that.
Understandable.